Hello and welcome to episode 64 of the Gamers of the Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host, Darren Whittam, and joining me this week, it's the other Spark on the pod, always looking Forza best in gaming. Forza best in gaming. And early adopting for the good of us all. You can always hear it first from Mr. Antony Chesson.
Hello, sir. How are you doing?
I'm alright, how are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. It's quite funny, actually. When I was looking at our kind of show number 64, I was going to put episode 64-bit.
I couldn't resist Commodore, and it seems to rhyme with 64.
Oh, that's just so cool. That's it. Oh, 64 already. Look at that.
Wow. Is it that quick? It's like, it's no time at all, it feels like, since we started. Though I do remember using, and it must have been about a year ago, Forza in an intro to you all that time ago.
Right.
I think you must have been playing Forza's Horizon 2. And in my intro, it was something along the lines of, he's always looking Forza Horizon, which was really rubbish at the time, but I thought I'd renew it, as it's quite relevant at the moment, yeah. But yeah, 64 episodes in, wow.
Absolutely. Very good, very good. So how's your week been?
Not been bad. What have I been doing this week? Well, I discovered something pretty cool with my Vive HMD thing. I'd been reading about this thing called super sampling, and I don't think I've mentioned this on the pod before, about super sampling, have I? Are you familiar with that term?
No, I haven't. No, I don't think you have.
So I was reading up about it. It kept popping up on the Vive Reddit thread, super sampling this, super sampling that, and I was like, I don't know what that is. I'm not going to bother about that. I'm not going to overcomplicate things. I'm not going to read up about it because then it might make me tinker, and I'm not in the mood for tinkering in case it doesn't work or something. Anyway, it kept popping up more and more, and so eventually I sort of got weak, and I was like, right, let's find out what this is about, because the headlines were starting to appear saying like, oh my goodness, super sampling is like Vive 1.5 or Vive 2.0 and stuff like that, and that got my interest. And I was like, what is this? Let's find out. So I dove in, and basically what super sampling is it renders the video at a higher resolution, or in this case, super sampling overall might mean something different, but in this case, it renders the video at a higher resolution than the screen can render it at. Okay, and this gives you a clearer picture. So you can render the video. So you've got, it's 1080 screens on the Vive, for instance. And so if you super sample it at a higher rate, then when that goes back down to the 1080 screen, because it's been rendered from a higher quality super sampling in the background, it gives you more clarity, even through the 1080 screen, though it's not actually 2 times or whatever. Probably a bit similar to the way that Sony are using some magical tech wizardry to get their 4K sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? It's not true 4K, but they're doing some kind of technical wizardry, and maybe it is a kind of super sampling to achieve a look that gives more clarity and finesse in the long run. It's probably a bit disparate, those examples, but there you go. And I was reading this and I thought, oh wow, this sounds pretty good. How do you do it? And it turned out all you needed to do was just change a value in a config file within the Vive settings. So I was like, that's easy enough. Literally, find the place that says super sampling equals 1.0, and you can change it to whatever you want. Like I think people, I don't know the exact sort of measures, but people were saying increments of 0.5 seem to work quite well. And it depends on how powerful your system is. It may look good but run rubbish. But you can just give it a go and then change the config file back, or make a backup of it or whatever. So I went on a hunt for the file, found it, and just thought, just thinking, this won't do anything. I was prepared to be underwhelmed. So I changed it to 2, then rebooted Steam VR, which is what I followed the instructions, which are easy to find on the Vive Reddit thread. If you just look up super sampling. Rebooted, put the headset back on me. So first of all, I had a little look round with the headset on, so I had a measurement there. So it was really recent. It wasn't from like 2 days ago or something. So I looked around first, then changed it, rebooted, put it on again, and I tell you something, it was so much sharper. It really was like having gone out and bought like Vive 1.5 or 2.0.
Wow.
The lines, they've always had, last week I said it was a bit VR-y, and by that I was meaning a bit blurry and stuff like that, which I've sort of got used to because I've had my Vive for a while now, and all VR has got that at the moment because we haven't got the clarity with the resolution. But tweaking this super sampling up, I tweaked it to 2.0, and I was in the main hub, and I could instantly tell, because you get surrounded by sort of a hollow deck grid, and instantly the lines were a lot clearer, and the text was clearer. So I went, oh wow, and I put the lab on, which is, I've talked about before, Valve's sort of demo, if you like, reel of different activities. And I was blown away. It was so much. Wow. It was so much clearer and sharper. It was like getting the equivalent of the, I don't know, the Xbox One S, if you like. It had added HDR. It had added some more horsepower, and it was. Yes. It really was like you say a few times, like wiping your eyes. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. So that was brilliant. It's like VR got better. VR got sharper, and VR got clearer. So that was awesome, and I was messing around with that. Some games that are very intensive in one way or another may not run at 2 on super sampling, and you can push it as much as you want. If you've got like one of these brand new Wizzy cards, like a Titan X that costs £1,000, then you could probably push it higher. I don't know. I don't know whether the drivers are there yet, but the more powerful your system, the more you can push that, and presumably the clearer the clarity would be for you, which is amazing, isn't it? You can just tweak that on the fly.
Absolutely, that's really interesting. So what happens when it can't handle it? Does it start to maybe judder or have problems?
Yeah, you notice with the frame rate. And it's
right.
And it's not as simple, like it always is with PCs, as you'd like, because basically some software will have super sampling within the software. Some software will not. Some software will let you tweak super sampling within the software. Some software will not. Some will have a default that's higher than the system default in the software, and so on. So really, you trial it or I've been trialing it on a game by game basis. But by and large, at 2.0, I had no problems on a VR session. Just leaving it at 2.0. Redout didn't like it much, but with Redout, I tweaked everything up to sort of maximum anyway. So then I had the dilemma of I was bringing resolution down in Redout and then changing super sampling up, as opposed to keeping super sampling as a default and putting the resolution up in Redout and trying to find the best balance there. I tell you something, that was very difficult because I was still not sure what was the best to do. So in the end, I just found one I was happy with and thought, right, that'll do. So yeah, it's really good. The improvement was stark and really worth doing. So if any listeners out there have got a Vive and you haven't tried it or tested it, get it looked up on Google. Go to the Reddit threads on there. Have a read about it. It's really worth doing because it's just like an instant upgrade to your box. It's amazing. I don't know if Oculus has got super sampling that you can tinker with as well. It's really good, and I wonder if PSVR will have some kind of file that, with the extra horsepower that the PS Pro, for instance, can throw at it, that could be tweaked as a default as well. You could get a PS4 Pro patch, and maybe it just increases this super sampling, which renders it at a higher resolution than it can actually output to than the HMD can display. But the result is that you get a sharper and cleaner experience within the virtual world. It's really awesome.
Wow, that's really cool. That's such a great find.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you can get some software called Chaperone Switcher. This is just for Vive, as far as I'm aware. And with that, you can save different super sampling configurations so you can quickly load them up. And that's really good. And that will also save playing spaces as well. So if you go from one room to another, it'll save different floor spaces, which at the moment you can't do that in the basic setup. So your basic system of VR, your Steam VR system or your HTC, your Vive actual software doesn't allow you to save different configurations, but this Chaperone Switcher allows you to save different configurations of play space along with different super sampling levels, which is nice to have it at the click of a finger. Yeah, so that's some good software as well. Yeah, that's really cool. So apart from that, what did I do? Do you remember I talked about some pixel art that I saw at a convention months ago?
Oh, yes. Yeah, the Brighton Games Convention.
Yeah, that's right. And so Blackpool. It's all right.
Blackpool,
Brighton comes so easily to your tongue. I know Blackpool's far away. I was thinking about leaving it then, but I thought I need to say. Right, so I wish I was in Brighton. I prefer Brighton. I prefer Brighton. I like the green sea of Brighton. So yeah, I saw this amazing pixel art. Sprite Planet was the people that I saw at this convention selling like framed works of pixel art, drawn in little sort of coloured pegs, and each peg represented a pixel, and it looked really effective and great. And we talked about it on a previous pod and posted some pictures. My mate bought one of Outrun, which is really cool. He's got it in his office. And I was at a car boot sale a few weeks ago, looking around the flea market, and on a table there was a Tupperware box full of multicoloured, what looked like beads. And I sort of went over and I said, "Are they those beads you can sort of make a pixel art with?" And this girl said, "Yeah, they are." And I said, "Oh wow!" I said I told her the story, that seen it, and I thought it was really impressive. She said, "Yeah, I'm getting rid of it because I'm going to university and I've grown out of it." She said, and I said, "Oh wow, I'd love some of this." I'm like 40 odd, getting talked down to by this girl. She's like, "Yeah, I've grown out of it, but I'll sell it to you." I was like, and I'm like, "Woohoo!" Like a kid in a toy shop. So I got some. I got like this tub of it because I'd never seen it before, and I hadn't got around to looking it up on the internet, to be honest. But it was just there, staring me in the face. So I got some of that. So I've decided to sort of embark upon creating some pixel art, of which I've just started my first one, and that is a Vic Viper. The Vic Viper, of course, is the spaceship that takes on the baddies in Nemesis, the old arcade game. Or Gradius, it was called as well. One of my favourite games of all time, and one of the first arcade games I ever played. It sort of spellbound me into gaming, so I've always got a soft spot for it. So I'm making this Vic Viper. I found a pattern on the internet for it, and so I'm constructing that. So I'll send you a picture when it's done.
Wow, that sounds so cool.
Yeah, peg by peg by peg by peg. I think I might have a bit of an obsessive thing because I like Minecraft, block by block by block, peg by peg by peg. Maybe
So is it keeping you nice and quiet?
It is.
That why Claire's enjoying it because it's just keeping you kind of busy.
Yeah, maybe I missed my vocation. Maybe I should have been on some kind of factory dog biscuit conveyor belt line or something. Because I seem to enjoy the monotonous tasks, but I get a great feeling of fun from it. So yeah, that's my week. What about you?
Well, my week, I'm kind of really this week I'm preparing for next week, and next week is the PlayStation VR launch in the UK, and I think in North America as well, or even worldwide. So I'm starting to prepare for that. I'm kind of I've been reading up on some magazines. I've got the latest official PlayStation magazine, which is quite interesting because I always I read them now on my iPad, and the last one that I got was almost a year ago. So I don't really kind of read too much of those magazines anymore. But they have a PlayStation VR special. It's out on newsstands. It's on iOS, Android. So I was going through that and just kind of having a look, just kind of getting myself genned up, getting myself ready. I also wanted to remove Kinect because down in the movie room, which is going to be my PlayStation VR play space, down in the movie room, I've got a Kinect which is under the TV, and it's all kind of drilled into the chimney breast, which leads into where the Xbox is. So what I want to do is I want to remove that and put the PlayStation camera. Unfortunately, the PlayStation camera that I've ordered, which is that new one, doesn't come out until next week. So I'm actually off work this week. I've got a week kind of just chilling and doing lots of chores, which this was kind of on my to-do list as one of the chores. I managed to sneak it in there, sneak it in past Nicola. So we kind of got the week off. So because on Friday, Gears of War, the Ultimate Edition early unlocks on Friday. So we're going to just play that all day. But one of the things I want to do was just get that prepared. Kind of install a camera, get everything set up, just so it's kind of ready to roll next Thursday. We're going to pod before then. So I'll be even more excited about it next week. But that's what I was so I was just getting ready for PlayStation VR. And reading the official PlayStation magazine and reading their PSVR supplement, I noticed that there was an interesting thing because the processor unit, and this is bit of a heads up for anyone who is getting a PlayStation VR, but the processor unit is actually, you take the HDMI lead out of your TV, which your PlayStation then plugs from your PlayStation to your TV. You take that out and you have to plug that into the processor unit, and then the processor unit then plugs into your TV. So you have to do a couple of kind of HDMI cable switcheroos just to kind of get it to. So that's how it's set up. That's the kind of the ring that you now do. So your processor unit kind of sits in between your PlayStation and your TV. So that was kind of the first one. And when I first read it, I was like, oh, I need to grab another HDMI port off of my receiver. I'm lucky because it's got 8. So it's not, I'm not stuck yet for ports. But then kind of delving deeper, I noticed that there was a HDMI in and a HDMI out. So you just basically kind of use that processor unit constantly as a pass through. So I thought that was an interesting thing to just kind of bring up with anyone who's thinking about getting PlayStation VR, just to be aware. And then I started getting kind of really excited about just looking at like the headset. They got some gorgeous pictures on the in the magazine of PlayStation VR. They got a great little kind of on the control system, or on the head, the HMD, there's obviously a lead that leads the processor unit, and halfway through there is a headphone section where you can plug your earbuds. I think within the PlayStation VR kit you get a pair of earbuds, you get a kind of a nice kind of white Sony branded earbuds, so you can plug that in there. But also it just means I'll be able to plug my headphones into there as well. The other day I actually bought a pair of wireless Bose, so they're like Bose Quiet Comfort 35s. I bought wireless ones, obviously, because I got an iPhone 7 and that doesn't have a headphone port anymore, thanks to Apple courage. So I had to I got fed up quite quickly with that little white dongle that stuck out the bottom of my iPhone 7.
Is the worm turning here? I can't believe what I'm hearing.
No, I mean, it's not. I've always wanted to get a pair of wireless headphones, and I was waiting. I was thinking I'll wait till Christmas, but then I got really fed up that I just had this white. My phone's black, so I got the jet black iPhone 7, and then there's a white cable that comes out of the back, and it just looked horrible. You know, it didn't look like, if it was black, that would have been fine. I would have been happy with that, but it just looked awful. And I use when I'm working from home, I use my phone as it's my work phone, because we have an app on there that allows, so if people dial my extension, it goes straight through to this app. And so that's obviously takes a lot of power as well. And after about the second day, I was finding myself running out of power, because I could either charge it or talk on the phone. So I was like, right, that's it. About the second day, I was like, Amazon Prime, I want a pair of those. I want a pair of those. So I got some Bose Quiet Comfort 35 wireless, and they're really nice. But what I want to do is, because it's Bluetooth, I want to see if I can pair it to my PlayStation, because that would be really cool if I can pair it to my PlayStation, have some wireless headphones. If not, there is a tiny little port, and a cable that I'll be able to plug in, but they'll go quite nicely over the head mounted device. So I got quite excited kind of about all this kind of new shiny tech. And then I started looking at the games as well. And there's some really good games or experiences that are coming out. So I did something it's not kind of like me. I ordered some disc versions of the games, just because I've already kind of been asked by a couple of people, like when I'm up in Manchester, to kind of stay over at a mate's house and just bring some games up. And I thought, if I download them, if I buy the digital version of these, that's going to be a bit tricky. It's going to be tough. We'll either be waiting around for a couple of gigs to download or something like that. So I've ordered some disc versions of the VR games, like the VR Worlds, which is the Sony one, the Rigs, and things like that. So I think Batman, which will be my first game, I think that's going to be I think that's digital only, so I can't buy that on disc anyway. So I'm just going to get that. But I'm getting so excited for it. After playing it at EGX that I was talking about last week, I'm playing at EGX. I'm just like, I cannot wait to just have a nice quality time with this. On that Thursday night, I've got to go into London in the morning. I'm going to an Android event in London at Google's offices, and then after that, I'm then hot-footing at home to my new package that will be sitting there waiting for me.
Wow. When you tried it, how did you find the frame rate and the clarity? Was it good? I mean, I presume it wasn't the same as watching it on a normal screen.
It was quite interesting because someone asked me that then, and I was saying it's almost like playing a PlayStation 3 game.
Oh, okay.
So it was good. There were some bits every now and then. There was a few bits. I didn't know if it wasn't set up properly for me, or if I was moving too much because I was just blown away by it. So occasionally it might have gone a bit blurry, like when I was in the back cave. But all in all, it was quite a solid, sharp image. And I was really enjoying it, and I really loved it. So again, kind of probably a bit, as you're saying, a bit VR-y, but I wasn't sure if my eyes weren't used to it. It was only played
and having
for
it
about 15
put
minutes.
on in haste as well because you're keen to play. You're not really taking the time to adjust it to be absolutely perfect because you want to make the most out of the time you've got.
Absolutely. I mean, the PlayStation VR does a really cool thing where there's a big old button underneath the actual visor, the kind of eye bit of it, and you can hit that, and then you can push it in and out, so you can really kind of get a nice, comfortable fitting quite quickly. So I was playing around with that. At one point, I was like, "Oh yeah, that's good enough," because I really just wanted to jump into the game. I was like, "Yeah, that'll do.
Get it on. It's meant to be the most comfy of HMDs. The PSVR. It's like really amazing design. I haven't tried one, but yeah, from everything that I read, it's supposed to be the best one for comfort.
It was definitely more comfortable than the Oculus that we tried last year at EGX. That Oculus I found was kind of very tight on my head, very kind of uncomfortable at the front. It was a lot more. It was so comfortable compared to that, and light as well. I was surprised how light it was.
And did they have sort of the disposable toilet seat covers to put around your face to sort of stop the sweat getting passed from user to user?
No, they were absolutely. I was talking about this on the breakout last week on the chat with Will, my nephew. The cool thing was they had because it's in the PlayStation VR around the edge of PlayStation VR. It's all kind of almost leather, so that every single booth had their little bag. It was like a little kind of overnight bag, little wash bag, and they had sanitary spray and a wipe.
Oh yeah. And I remember that bit.
And I am going to be getting some of that, and I'm going to be putting that in my movie room. So I'll do that every time, whenever I'm passing it. I've already been speaking to some family to kind of come down on the Saturday to kind of have a bit of a play, to kind of check it out. Like Will, my nephew, and his brother as well, just as like, come down, come and have a look at it. So I'm going to make sure I've got plenty of that.
It's VR day, hooray.
Yeah, exactly. It's VR. So this Friday is Gears of War Day. So it's quite funny. Nicola and I are quite excited. We've got some pie and mash coming from our favourite pie and mash shop. So we've got that coming, and we're going to play Gears of War. That is just like the ultimate Friday for us. I've got lots of root beer, lots of sweets. And then next Thursday, it's VR Day. I'm quite excited.
Wow, what an awesome 10 days.
Exactly. So Gears of War will keep me going until VR, and then it's all about VR for that weekend.
Wow, fantastic! I'm envious.
But absolutely. So now what we need to do is I do need to get up to Blackpool and
not Brian. Yeah, you totally do, because you could bring your PSVR, which I'd love to have a go because I've never had a go at it. I'm so intrigued, and you can have a go on Vive, and we can have a really good compare. Absolutely. It'd be so good. It could be.
We'd have like a VR day where we can because I've also on Amazon, I purchased a bag. There's like a little backpack where it kind of, your VR, your headset and stuff all fits in this bag quite nicely. So it's a little kind of carrying case. So I bought one of those as well. So it's, so I'm all ready. I'm all ready to be mobile with this bad boy.
That's interesting. We could even maybe get Globe Gig Steve involved, and after we sort of had a night playing it, the next morning maybe go out of ways and record a video pod of us discussing the benefits of both.
Yes,
something like that.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. We can because then we've got a real really good discussion, because by that time I'd been used to PlayStation VR. You're obviously used to HTC Vive. We do the switch
both help each other with it. Oh wow.
Exactly. We can compare and contrast. I mean, one last thing about PlayStation VR, and then we'll get on to what we've been playing this week, was I had a look at the kind of the space that you need, the kind of physical play space. And they were saying, again in this magazine, that they were saying it's about 9 foot by 6 foot is all you need. And then with the user, whether you're sitting or standing, you should be about 5 feet away from the PlayStation camera.
Okay.
So it's almost Kinect level. And I know that fits my movie room quite nicely. So the only thing I am a bit worried about is but they might help in a way. I've got 2 leather chests in the movie room. So what I'm going to do when I play VR, I'm just going to push those forward. But I thought in a way they're actually quite good, because they'll stop me walking towards the TV. Because judging by my time on Batman, I got very excited and very animated. So I like that I've got almost a little buffer, so I don't suddenly put my fist through my TV.
Yeah, that's very useful and handy indeed. Is there right? So it's the movie room. My first question is, I don't know, I've not thought to ask you this before in 64 episodes. Was there ever a time it was going to be called the game room, or do you do more movies?
No, it's always a movie room. It's always been a movie room to just come and encompass gaming and movies. So it's always just been the movie room.
Do you think it could ever change to the VR room, or is it never going to change from the movie room?
Well, I don't know, because the room's getting a nickname of the Nook right now, so we're calling it the Nook rather than the movie room. So it is. It's just a great space where we're just kind of down there watching movies, watching TV, and playing games. It's
soundproofed, isn't it, as well?
It is soundproofed.
Wow, so good.
Because we're a semi-detached, so what I've done is I've soundproofed 3 of the 4 walls, so we won't annoy the neighbours.
Does it work?
It does, though. They've never complained.
Brilliant.
And I see them a lot when I go out, and they've never, even after maybe playing some Destiny or playing some Halo, and they've never gone, "Phew, that was a bit loud last night." So I've never had that awkward moment. So I'm thinking it
Brilliant.
does.
You know it works when the neighbours you're attached to aren't complaining, but you're getting a knock on the door from the house that isn't attached on the other side.
Yeah. The one behind me across the drive is going, "Can you turn that
but
down?"
next door are sleeping like babies.
Yeah. So I've just and now we didn't have a door on it for a while, but now we've got a door on it as well. So it's even kind of quite tight when if I'm playing and Nicola goes off to bed.
Oh yeah, that's good. It's always handy, isn't it? I've been in rooms before that didn't have, I had a space where a door should have been, but we moved in, there was no door, and we couldn't be bothered never got around to getting one, and it's just a bit of a nightmare because the sound does go and reverberate throughout the whole house. So yeah, it's good to get a door.
Absolutely, it's so. What have you been playing this week?
I have been delighted with gaming this week. I've had the delight to play Forza Horizon 3, which I bought after you've been saying how good it is, and I watched a demo, not a demo. I watched a video of, I think it was GameSpot. It just pops up on YouTube saying Forza 3 in 4K at 60 frames per second, and I watched that and I was like, wow, that looks so good, and that inspired me to get the demo on Xbox, because I hadn't got the demo.
Right.
And it annoyed me. It annoyed me because before I got the demo, I had a code for a Warthog from Microsoft. I got a message. I got 2 actually. I got 2 messages with a code in, and I just sat there and I went, "Oh, I'm not getting that game. Delete." Anyway, so that's a bit of history. So then I got the demo, and I was like, as soon as I started playing this demo, I was like, "Wow, this is awesome. I'm loving this game so much. It makes me feel like it's Project Gotham Racing again." Project Gotham Racing 3 is probably the last racer that I seriously got into. I love the combo stacking up method, which reminded me of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, which is another little favourite of mine. I love that dynamic. I like the kudos system in PGR. And I was just like, oh man, and the sun's shining and the tunes just... Happy tunes, happy sun, Australia, fast cars, arcadey feel. The sun glinting off the water and the sun dappling through the trees. I felt like I was driving through a scene through The Witcher at one point. And I was just like, wow, I'm going to get this. So I got it. So I got Forza Horizon 3, and I love it. I love it. Last night, Claire was having her hair done. So I got 4 hours of guilt-free gaming time. And you know what? I just played Forza Horizon for 4 hours straight. and just raced and raced and raced and raced and raced and raced, and I didn't get bored. There's so much to do. No. It's like it's not content overload because I'm happy, but there's so much content there, and there's so much to do, so many diverse things to do, and I love it. I think I said this to you the other day when we were playing multiplayer that I love it. That say with Project Gotham, for instance, if I just wanted to appreciate the scenery, you kind of had to lose a race to do that because everything was set around the racing. And this concept's been around a while, hasn't it, of the free drive, but it's not something that I've really got that much experience of. So just to be able to just potter about without a challenge even, but just have things just ticking up bits of experience here and there, but just appreciate the scenery and the areas. It's just great. I really like it. I think the last game that I really liked was, I think it was after Project Gotham 3, was probably Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. I really enjoyed that. And this reminds me of Burnout as well with the speed, actually. But again, with that one, I could never appreciate the graphics because my eyes were bleeding from just trying to stay on the road with the speed. And this gives you it gives you that experience when you're racing, and if you take up a challenge. But you can also just take on more mellow experiences like finding classic cars that are hidden in barns around the map and stuff like that. Taking on like awesome challenges of spectacle, like the one in the demo where you're racing against a Jeep that's been suspended by a helicopter. And yeah, I think it's good. You saying it was great, and then just seeing that video triggered it, and the demo did what it was supposed to do. That's what the demo was supposed to do. And my goodness, when a game's of quality, it did it for me. I was hook, line, and sinker. I stopped playing. I didn't want to stop the demo until I bought the game, if you know what I mean, because I couldn't stand the thought of not having it. And I thought that's what demos should do. And I don't know whether they always do that, but certainly that hooked me. Really did. So yeah, Forza Horizon 3 is good, isn't it?
So it did its job, that demo. The demo did what it's supposed to do. Just kind of completely hooking. I mean, I am absolutely in love with Forza Horizon. I cannot stop playing it. Like I say, I've got the week off this week, but I was up at 5:30 on Monday just so I could go downstairs and just like stick some headphones on and just start playing Forza Horizon. I absolutely love it. I jumped online with James and a group of people on last week, and we were playing some of the multiplayer modes, such as like Capture the Flag. We were also doing like King of the Hill and that sort of stuff. And that was just such a laugh. It was just so much fun. And then you, Stuart, and I jumped online on, was it Sunday night?
Yeah,
it was Sunday night, wasn't it? So we jumped online on Sunday. We did lots of kind of racing and stuff, and I really enjoyed that. I thought it's just so good. I mean, on its own, when you're playing offline, or when you're playing online, but you're playing on your own, playing solo, it's a fantastic, it's an amazing game. But it's the first time that I've ever kind of played multiplayer in a Forza game, and I really love it, where normally there is that multiplayer, but I've never kind of had maybe the group of people, or I've always missed someone else who's playing it. They're kind of playing it at different times, and I've just never kind of done that multiplayer. And then to kind of do those two experiences really just took Forza Horizon 3 to a whole new level, and I just absolutely loved it. At the moment I'm going around, I'm looking for all the XP boards. I did buy that little map DLC, so I got Microsoft deposited, I think it was like about £7-8 into my account this month for buying digital purchases, etc. So I was like, right, I'll just give half a bit of that back to you, and I paid the £2.69 or the £3, whatever it was, of free money, and that just basically shows you all the XP. It shows you all of the
the treasure map. So I'm just
yes.
Did you get the horns as well? Because there's a horn unlock, isn't there?
Yeah, no, I didn't go that far. I will unlock those. I'm enjoying I've got my kind of mariachi one at the moment, and I'm happy with that. That kind of makes me chuckle. That makes me chuckle every time when I'm just kind of driving around. But it was really nice just to kind of unlock all those, because I love going around, getting all the XPs, getting all the travel boards, and these are just kind of like billboards that are around the world that you just need to drive through, and then you just level up and level up. I must admit there's some really tricky XP boards that I've kind of looked, I'm like, how am I going to get to the top of a barn? How am I going to get to the top of an aeroplane? And I'm just looking around to see if there's some really good jumps, and I thought I'll just get to those a bit later. But I've unlocked 4 festivals now, which are just amazing, and the latest one unlocked this morning, and that is just stunning. But how far have you got? How many festivals have you unlocked so far?
Definitely 3. 3, I think it's 3. One of them I've maxed out, right, and then one of them's on like level 3, and one of them is on level 1. I did the speedboat thing, which is cool. But
it's a bit like James Bond, wasn't it, when they jump over you?
Yeah, very cool.
I tried to get a picture of that, but I failed miserably a couple of times.
So. You always got the rewind feature, though, haven't you, to keep trying?
You have indeed, yes. But I was so into it because I love those. I hope there's more. So far I've done the train,
that was good.
the Chinook, and the speedboat. So I'm hoping there's at least a couple more.
Yeah, I like the train. Freight Expectations, very good.
That was superb. And then once you got that unlocked Groove. It unlocked the Groove integration. So which I really liked. I think we were chatting about it on Sunday, weren't we? About the Groove. It's just really cool because I don't subscribe to Groove. I don't have Groove. But it suddenly just pops up and went, "Oh, would you like free 14-day no credit card trial?" And I was like, "Yes, I would." And it just started playing Groove, and then I downloaded that on my iPhone. Downloaded the Groove app on my iPhone. Started putting together like a Forza playlist. A bit of Queens of Stone Age. Going back, I like going back to like other driving games or like Wipeout or SSX and kind of get the soundtracks to those games, and they're my driving tunes.
Yeah.
So I started making that, and then so now it's just a couple of taps of the right thumbstick, and there you are. There's your playlist, and it just works really well.
Yeah, I like how everything's now. There's unlocks that keep coming, like the Groove unlocked. I unlocked the club thing last night, so I joined the Gamers of the Lost Spark club.
Excellent.
And it just feels like it's drip feeding stuff to you all the time, but you're happy enough doing what's there already. Or I certainly am. And I love the drivatar aspect. Even when you're offline, it's got the drivatars of your friends. Mm-hmm. So there's always that little bit of personalisation in there with the racers. Even though it's not really them, it's based upon their driving style. And it's as simple as just putting a name of someone you know on a car. It's like the genius of XCOM when it let you name your people, so you get more of an emotional connection, more of a personal connection with them, and it just works. So I'm happy. I'm not very au fait with the multiplayer yet. I'm loving the single player. I jumped in with yourself, but even the multiplayer seems to. I mean, hopefully this won't be too overwhelming for people. The sheer amount of options available could be quite sort of bewildering. But in multiplayer, you can take it to competitions. You can do a co-op, which is what we did, where everybody just joins into the host's game, but everybody keeps their experience and what they've unlocked in their own game as well. So that's quite chilled, and you just do races, and you're all a team. You can do competitive. There's all sorts of different modes. I don't even know them all. That's two. Yeah. But when I was looking at the options, it kind of is like, what mood are you in? We can provide that racing distraction for you.
Well, the one that I really like is the adventure mode, and that's the one that's the one I want to kind of jump in with you kind of next time we do it, because that is, you have like 3 or 4 races, but you also get experience points, and while you're driving to the next race. So everybody has to drive to the next race, and then it shows you, and then it keeps a tally of that. So you're almost kind of like racing, so you're in competition, then the race to the race is, and you just get, and then it just tallies all the points up at the end. And I thought that was just really cool. But I totally get what you mean, because like when I look at the map at the moment, it does, and you're spot on with The Witcher with visuals, because it also looks like The Witcher with all those little mini missions when you go to the map.
It does, It reminds me a bit of Assassin's Creed as well, but I don't like the collection aspect of Ubisoft games when it's scattered throughout the map, and I always feel, you've just put feathers everywhere just to elongate the gameplay. And I don't want to do that. For some reason, I don't want to do it in Assassin's Creed games, but in this game, I'm quite happy to travel and get an XP board.
Yes.
It's weird, but maybe it's because Assassin's Creed sort of got stale over the years, and for me, it's been such a break. But it's just a joy. It's a joy to drive. It's a joy.
It is.
And what about setting up your own challenges and giving that challenge your own rules, and that goes and gets posted out for people to try, and you can pick the tune that represents the challenge. I love it. I did this challenge. Well, I haven't got the Warthog because, as I say, I deleted the code, but I have asked Microsoft to help me, and they've sent me a new code just before we started to record, which was very nice of them. So if you have accidentally deleted your Warthog code, you can post a help me on there's a forum. If you just Google it, you'll find it. You say, help me, I've accidentally deleted my Warthog code, and they'll send you a new one, because that's what they did to me. But yeah, I did this little challenge, and I picked the only tune that I could at the time, because it was so great when I was listening to the classical radio station, and all of a sudden the trial came on from the Halo soundtrack. And it's like, and I was like, oh man, that's so amazing. And so that was the tune. I've only set up one event because it makes you do it. To teach you it, and I was like, right, this is my event. There's only one tune I'm going to pick, the Halo tune, and it's like, oh man, it's so cool.
Yeah, no, it's just absolutely fun. And they're the kind of the blueprints, aren't they? So it's just like when you go to that, you can either do the ones that they've given you out of the box, or the ones that your friends have set up are just kind of sitting there, and you can just try those as well. And I just think, and and even with the online game, if for instance I set up a game as like, right, okay, Warthogs only, we're racing, and you don't have it, you can actually just borrow the leader's car, and then so you just click of a button, you have that same car, and everybody has the same car, and we're all on the level playing field. So it's just absolutely fantastic. You know, that's just such a great thing, rather than going, oh, I don't have that one. Okay, let's try another one. Do you have rather than kind of going through that rigmarole, they just actually say, if you don't have it, then you can just borrow that car and just kind of race. And it's such fun. Yeah. It really is such a great game. And it's really interesting because Forza just gets better and better every year. We have Forza Motorsports, and then Forza Motorsports seems to it gets prettier looking, and then, and they're doing more with that. And then Forza Horizon comes along, uses that engine, improves it tenfold, and then improves the playability. And then it's like, right, okay, over to you now, Forza Motorsport. It's your turn next. I'd love a game that combined the two, rather than having, I like that we flip-flop between them, a bit like Call of Duty. Yeah. I like that we do that. I'd also love a game that maybe just combine the two. Maybe that's kind of further down the line. Maybe we'll start getting this Forza platform.
You can though, if it's the technical side that you're after. There's if you want it, you can take off all the assists, can't you, within Forza Horizon 3, and mess about with all the tuning and differentials and stuff.
Absolutely, and
does that make it a bit more similar?
I guess I would never do it, because even in Forza Motorsports I don't do it. But I mean, it's
good. I'm so glad you said that, because I feel that I'm cheating, because I leave it all on. I don't know what any of it means.
The only thing I don't put on is like braking assist or steering assist. I don't want to feel. I have the braking line. I always have the braking line.
That's great because it's dynamic as well. I love that. Yes. I've never seen that in a game, and it's red on a corner. But if you slow down before, then it goes blue because it knows the speed you're at's okay. And I love that. Yeah. I love that.
It's so much fun. It really is, And then last night, a friend of the show, Manny, he sent me a screenshot, of a rival. So he's done, I must have appeared in one of his rival challenges, and he beat my score. So then when I was looking through the menus last night, when I jumped on for about an hour, I noticed there was like a little 1 next to the rival, and it was like, yep, Manny's beaten your score. You need to now challenge him. And I was like, that's just so cool. I mean, the interesting thing about that is when you are doing the rival challenges, you can't rewind or anything like that, because if you rewind, it then validates that lap.
Yeah.
So you're out of that lap. So you just have to do a nice pure lap. And the same with online multiplayer. You don't have a rewind feature.
Imagine if it allowed that, and so anybody that rewinds everybody as well, because that's the only way that it would work. Or you're driving really well, someone rewinds you. It could be something like a power up. If everybody just had one. If everybody just had one in a 10-lap race. It's like, if you mess with me, I'm going to rewind this. I'll rewind you.
Oh my god, that would absolutely be perfect. That kind of, and if you don't, maybe you get extra bonus or something like that. But having that one rewind would just, that's genius.
Just screaming agony, but it'd be brilliant. Wouldn't it be like, I can't believe you, proper air blue sort of thing.
Exactly. But just as they're about to go over the finish line, you would just hit rewind, wouldn't you? You were just like, and that would just be so much fun. But no, I'm absolutely loving it. I don't want to stop playing it. Like I say, I'm playing it kind of late at night, early in the mornings. It's such a great game to play.
Yeah, and it feels, I really got the feeling it was raining outside and grey, and when I was looking at my TV, I felt like I was on holiday, driving away, and I looked away out of the window, and it was like, nah, I'm going back to Australia. It's better. Is it Jason Donovan, that narrator? It sounds a lot like him,
Oh, that would be so funny. Start singing.
Tell you what, it sounds like him. I might have a look there, maybe.
Yeah, I might have to. I must admit, I was talking about it last week about how amazing the HDR looks.
Yeah.
It's stunning. It is absolutely. It was really funny because Nicola was kind of walking past the movie room and she kind of looked in. She was like, "That looks incredible," and I'm like, "I know, right? It looks amazing." It really does. It's really kind of. It's very 3D. Everything pops. It's just at night time. It just looks so good. And I just absolutely love it. It's a couple of times over the weekend I was relegated to the smaller TV, and I was in a bit of a hump because I just want to play Forza on the big TV. And I was just like, so I was playing something else we were playing Destiny, but I was playing like something else. I was like, and I had a quick go at Forza, and I'm like, I want to play on the big TV because it just looks so good. So yeah, though I'm going to be very jealous of Nicola on Friday when she gets to play Gears of War on the big TV in HDR, because I understand that Gears, because a lot of it's at night, it really does pop with HDR.
Yeah, night with something bright like an explosion at night is going to look amazing in HDR because you're going to see that full colour gamut. And you'll be quite, at least you've got the two tellies next to each other. I know the different sizes, but you hopefully will be able to notice the difference in the resonance of that colour spectrum.
Absolutely, and I said that the other day. I think when you're playing on that TV, you don't appreciate it as much as when you're spectating. So I would just be like, in the cutscenes, I would just be able to just look up to that big TV and just enjoy the HDR on the cutscenes, or whenever we're playing, like when I'm bleeding out and I'm asking Nicola to come over and revive me, I'll be able to look at her kind of going to get me. So I'll still get to enjoy it, which is fantastic. So, but maybe I'll play on the big TV when she's not around.
Yeah, I'm the same, whenever I've got friends around and they're playing a game and I'm just like, yeah, just play it. And they're like, oh, I feel bad because you haven't had a go. I'm just like, don't worry about it. I never get to watch and appreciate it. And there's a lot to be said for just being able to take a step back from, doing your best at the game and actually just looking around, everything that's going on. And I really like that sometimes.
Absolutely. So apart from Forza, what else have you been playing?
I've been playing Deus Ex Mankind Divided still. So that's a campaign that's ongoing. Still enjoying it. I've not really got much more to say on it than I said last week, really. It's good, it's got great verticality, and it's got a great different approaches to the quests that's involved with it. I'm going through it, doing it as peaceful as possible, not killing anybody, which is good. It throws its challenges, though. I did watch a clip of somebody playing it on YouTube, and it was alien to me. They were just killing everybody, playing it like Call of Duty. And inside I was like, that's not what you do in Deus Ex. But of course it is. You do it however way you want. And it kind of made me feel, am I missing out on a part of the game by not playing it this well? Well, obviously I am, because I'm doing. And it made me think, well, when I complete it, will I start it again and be all gung-ho? So yeah, that was a bit weird. I thought it felt wrong. But it also felt like the option's there, should you do it. But then again, the option was there in the airport on that Call of Duty game to assassinate civilians, and I never did, and I never went back and did it. No. So there you go. I'll play it as I should. Just like I did with Life is Strange, as you did with Life is Strange. That's my go. That's my game, and I'll be happy with that. I haven't got the time to be playing it again, to be honest. Though it is beautiful. It always makes me want to watch Blade Runner. But then I'm a bit of a sucker, you see. I think if they got like sort of a dystopian future game, anything set in the future, and had sort of a soundtrack over it that went do 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 like that, I just fall for it. I did it with Mass Effect, the first trailer. It went do 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 do. I am Commander Shepard. Do 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 do. I was like, oh, this game's going to be amazing. I've got to get it. And Deus Ex
Day one purchase.
Yeah, Deus Ex did the same to me with Human Revolution, which was the last one. And this one does. I mean, I do love the style and I do love the music. It's great. It's strange because it's not quite the best thing ever, because we've already sort of had it with Human Revolution. And really, like we were talking about, that your eyes sort of up-res it anyway, and there isn't that much different about it apart from more of a maybe refined experience. So it's really enjoyable, but it's not done to me what like Forza did to me. And it's not grabbed me. I don't love it as much as I love Dark Souls, which I'm a bit sad to say, because it annoys me because I love Deus Ex, and I want to love it, but I just think that something, I don't know, I can't. It's lazy really, because I can't say what it is that I'd want from it more that could make it into what I wish it could be. I can't quite explain what it would be. Maybe maybe the graphical leap, but that shouldn't matter really in a game like that. Maybe the story isn't quite good enough, but the story wasn't like, stellar on the last one. Maybe it's the fact that between the last one and this one, there's been so many amazing games. Whereas when the last one came out, it was kind of a refreshed engine for Deus Ex, and I think it had only... I don't know if it was the first one on consoles or maybe the second one. Invisible War, I think, came out on Xbox.
Yes, but that was on the original Xbox, wasn't it?
Yeah, so obviously there was a massive leap, and the aesthetic of it was very striking, and that was very new then, 5 years ago, whereas this really does seem kind of almost like it could be a bit of an add-on or an expansion, to the last one, rather than... Oh my goodness me! But you could argue that about Witcher 3. So I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think that's very akin to. I think it's very akin to BioShock and BioShock 2. I saw a playthrough. I was watching a playthrough of someone on because I was for a couple of weeks. I was sitting on the fence thinking, shall I get Deus Ex? And then I saw a Let's Play. I think it was the Kind of Funny guys doing a Let's Play. And I was like, that just looks like the previous one. So it was. I can see kind of where you're coming from, because I think that's kind of one of the things that stopped you playing BioShock 2 was that it just seemed very samey. And the graphics, when I was looking at it, I know I was kind of watching it through Twitch, and it's probably compression, and they were playing it on a PlayStation 4, but it just didn't look any different. I was like, if I'm going to play the game that kind of almost feels the same, I really want there to be something new and shiny to that, not just graphics, but maybe a new gameplay hook. And it did just look like, as you said, maybe an expansion of Deus Ex.
Yeah, I think if Deus Ex Mankind Divided had come out as quickly as BioShock 2 came out after BioShock, I might have skipped it for exactly the same reason. So yeah, it's just the key is there, isn't it, to leave a bigger gap? Because I was ready, and I'm still ready. I'm enjoying it. I don't know, maybe I need to put some more time in it. My time's getting fragmented because I'm playing more than one game. It's not right. It's not like me. Forza's interrupted me from my course. But just the fact that Forza can do that it can drive a wedge into it, means that maybe the Deus Ex experience isn't strong enough for me as it should have been. That I'm interruptible.
Indeed, just wait for like CD Projekt Red's next game.
Oh,
their Cyberpunk one. That will be awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. It's a few years off, I think. But yeah, man, that's going to be the true Deus Ex. We'll see. So apart from that, I took your and James's advice and got my hands on Overcooked on Thursday night, I think it was.
Right.
So Claire and I...
how's your marriage?
Yeah, exactly. We'd had a few drinks, and I was feeling brave, and I said, I was feeling like testing our relationship. I said, babe, there's this really cool game. I think it's going to be amazing, but let's not argue. I said, because it's designed to make us fall out, but let's just try it, and all we need to do is communicate, and we'll be fine. We've both been managers. We can do this. What are you doing? Pass me the plate. No, don't put it over there.
Was that like on level 2?
Yeah. I think that was in the kitchen making dinner before we'd even started.
I think I had like this kind of, this game is amazing and fun. I think I had that for like the first 4 levels, and then it was like, I think it was after the first time we failed, which was I think about 4 levels in, was the first time we never got 3 stars, and that's when it all went crazy, And then
I showed Claire the trailer on Steam first of all. I said, this is what it is. What do you think? And she just went, yeah, let's get it straight away. It was on 25% off, I think, on Steam. It was on a Steam sale, so I got it a little bit cheaper. But yeah, it's great fun. We got to a level where rats kept coming in and running off with the stuff.
Oh yes, the buggers.
Yeah, it was very annoying.
You just can't leave it, because like normally it kind of lodges in 4 senses of security, because normally you're like, right, I'm just gonna chop the tomato and I'm just gonna leave those here. They'll be fine. You can pick them up when you need them. But then suddenly a rat comes in and then it just kind of grabs it, and you're like, no. But you can. Oh, it's just so much fun.
Yeah, you're supposed to be dealing with the rats. I am dealing with the rats. No, you're not. Because why is there one there then? Oh, it's really good. It's really great.
So you're enjoying it, you guys? Are you? I mean, like I say, there is obviously a lot of screaming and shouting, but at the same time, kind of underneath that, there is just like a ton of fun, isn't there? It's just so much fun.
Yeah, I'd hand it to the design, really, that it's so well done to make the timings right so that it can be done.
Yes.
But to make it so that you really do have to work together, which obviously causes that sort of communication friction. And I just thought it was genius. I don't know if that was just like fortuitous and it's just like, oh yeah, any old timings get put in there, or if it was tested to make it just right because it feels just right.
Yes, I think it was probably tested and play tested, and then they kind of, okay, we'll reduce that time. I just think
when the people were about to kill each other, they just took it down a bit from there. They were like, no, that's too much. He's got a baseball bat in his hand.
Because you'll notice, like, the 3-star, the value you have to get 3-star changes from level to level. So sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low. So maybe that's what they tweaked. They were like, okay, we'll make sure we'll take those point systems down, give them less to do. But it's just, but it's funny. I love it because the first time when you do fail, and for us, failure was not 3 stars. So when the first time you do fail, you can, or as Nicola pointed out time and time again, you can realize where I went wrong quite quickly, and you gotta go, okay, right, I've got it this time, I've got it. Oh god, I love that game so much.
But when you're working it, when you're really working it, and it all comes together, and it's just like a well-oiled machine, you're just like, we are the best. This is awesome.
There it is. Tell me this: did at any point did any of you go like order up or service?
Oh, all the time. All the time. I had Gordon Ramsay in my head the whole time. Yes, chef. Service. Service. I said service.
Nicola was always like, order up. And I'm like, okay, I got my plate. What
are you doing at the sink? It needs to go. Service, come on. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Oh, it's just so much fun. It's just absolutely superb. So how far are you in? How many levels have you done? I'd like to say you're on to the rats.
Probably we've done the rats, the level after that, and we paused it there. We haven't come back to it yet. Just because I've been busy.
Have you had any fires?
Yes. It ruins everything.
It really does. The kitchen catches fire quite quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, it didn't explain, or at least I didn't read that bit where it explained about the fire extinguisher. It's like, what do we do? Grab the fire extinguisher. And it spreads. Obviously, it spreads, but it spreads pretty rapid all around. It ruins everything. You're cooking. It's like, I can't put anything in the pan now. You go, what do I do? You go, empty that in the bin. You got to start again. The blooming customers are clamouring. The rats are running around.
There is nothing more panicky than when one of your orders starts to shake and goes red, and it's just so much fun. Have you found the dash button as well?
Yeah, I have. That's very useful. The first one I think that challenged us was when I think it was on the sea. When it starts shifting, the whole counter just shifts.
Yes,
and you're just like, I was just in the right position, and now I'm at the other end, and it's like one of us has got to decide where to run, and it's like you've got to chat, haven't you, man? You've got to communicate in there.
I love the music on that pirate level. It's almost Rare-esque, isn't it?
And I remember you talking about it, yeah. And I was once it came on, I was like, classic, this is the level. But I wasn't prepared. I thought I'll be all right. I wasn't all right at all. But I loved the music as soon as it came on. And you know what I thought when I was playing it? It came on Overcooked, and it sort of did that accordion sort of led tune, or whatever it was. And I said to Claire, you know what would have been brilliant when Ratatouille came out? Now, they brought a game out based on Ratatouille, and it was pretty good for a film license and a kids' game. I quite enjoyed it. But I said, imagine if they'd have themed this game, they'd have made this game but using the Ratatouille assets. I just thought it would have been awesome. Just pretend that the rat's inside the hat or something. And done Overcooked as Ratatouille Overcooked. I just thought that would have been like one of the best licensed games, movie licensed games ever. So really enjoyed that. And then the final thing that I've been playing was I had a quick go just before recording, and it's a little bit of news as well. The Star Wars Battlefront Death Star DLC went live today.
Oh, nice!
Yeah, you haven't been. It came out on the 20th of September. If you had the season pass, as you've reported on already. But it wasn't available as a standalone for 2 weeks. Today was the cut-off of that 2 weeks, 4th of October, and it's available to buy as a standalone now for £11.99. So, you know me and DLC, I don't want any DLC, so I went straight to the shop and bought this.
Wow, this is a new generation of dads. You're playing multiple games at once, and now you bought some DLC.
I'll need to knuckle down to finish them all. But this is really... I had to buy this because this is my favourite bit about Rogue Leader on the GameCube. So this kind of, for me... I'm a bit disappointed it wasn't in the game, something like this. And I think it's a bit cheeky to hold it off. But then why not? Because if anybody else is like me, they're going to buy it. And if I'm going to buy it, hopefully a lot of people that are not as resolved as me on DLC will buy it too. But yeah, I had a quick go. I really like it. It's not, as I've said before, the dogfighting isn't quite as technical as Rogue Leader on the GameCube and the other games because it's taken away the ability to do a barrel roll at will. to rotate your ship. They've made it a little bit more simple. But my goodness, that Frostbite engine. Oh my goodness, the lights, not really sparkling, but reflecting off the grey of the Battlestar Galactica, of the Death Star in front and around you. And it's so much, it's really expansive. You really get the sense of scale. The trenches, when you fly down into the trenches, it's not just like one trench like we're used to in other games. The trench goes off to left and right. There's tunnels within the trenches as well. You can go like really deep in there. I've had one go. I got picked to do a trench run. I didn't know where I was supposed to be flying. I went down a trench, but there's so many trenches, I didn't know which trench to go down, and then I got shot, and then it was like, we'll have to start again. It's a trap! But yeah, I really enjoyed it. So what you do is you start off the game. Well, there's different campaigns, but the main one, the Death Star attack, sort of assault mode, is you start off with the dogfight. And you've got to... Actually, I didn't get to play this little bit. And you shoot the TIE fighters, and you've got to attack Star Destroyers until such time as you can advance. And then you descend into the Death Star. And the next mission, and this bit isn't a dogfight, this is on foot, infantry, FPS style. And this part, you've got to get to R2-D2 and rescue him. When you actually get to him, which is pretty difficult because obviously your opponents are trying to stop you, then the player that finds him can become R2-D2. It's a bit like, what's the mode? A bit like Capture the Flag in a way. You're R2-D2 and you've got to get R2-D2 back to the extraction point, and everybody else has got to protect R2-D2. If you get shot, then the player comes out, R2-D2 stays still, and then you've got to leg it back and get him again. If you get him to the extraction point, then you get to the next dogfighting mode where you're in X-Wings and A-Wings and things, and the purpose of that is to take out enough TIEs and then get ready for the trench run. Boom, take out the Death Star, and obviously your opponents are trying to stop you. And so I saw the FPS bit I had a little go of, and by the way, because I haven't played it for ages, I was hyper rubbish. And then the dogfight bit, the Death Star trench run bit, which was awesome, but yeah, it sort of takes the fun out of it when you're getting killed every 30 seconds. But my goodness, the spectacle. I'm happy enough with this for the spectacle. It's just a beautiful... It's £11.99, and that's all right. I still play Rogue Leader on my GameCube now. So to play the almost equivalent with slightly less playability with the control of the ship, but to have that Frostbite engine beauty on my TV and not have to drag a console out of the garage, it's worth it for me. It's good. It's really good.
Fantastic. That just sounds like so much fun.
It is.
I can't wait
You're going
to
get
play
it.
that.
You're getting it, aren't you?
Yeah, I know, absolutely. I'm trying to figure out what kind of platform, but now that you've jumped on the PS4, I think I'll go and get it over on PS4 then. So I was just like...
we could hook... I missed out, actually, and maybe we all did. There was a sale on when the Death Star pack got released as part of the Season Pass. They brought the Season Pass down to $23.99.
Oh, really?
And I missed it. I missed it completely. Now it's $39.99 for the Season Pass, and the actual game's reduced to $23.99 on the PlayStation Store. But $23.99 when each standalone was $11.99, and there's the Rogue Leader one to come, there's actually not a bad deal. Not a bad deal.
No, not at all. And also, with that game as well, you need that for PlayStation VR, for the VR... the VR add-on.
Oh, yeah,
as well.
the VR Star Wars Battlefront Experience or something, isn't it?
Yes. So that's just going to be, that's going to be so sweet. Oh, that just sounds like so much fun. I want to jump in. And we get headphones on and just kind of play that. That sounds like,
that's
good.
You definitely got to come around and show me that, because that's everything. And I can, in return, you can have a go on that, what's it called? The Tatooine experience. On the Vive. So you'll get to walk around and you'll be able to see the perspective of the Millennium Falcon above you and sort of pat R2-D2 on the head.
Dreams come true. Superb. So, me, I've been playing Destiny. Been playing
Still enjoying
Destiny,
it?
so Yeah, absolutely. We're loving it. We're one more quest away to unlock the Galahorn. So the Galahorn, for anybody who's playing Destiny, is kind of a big, beefy, rocket launcher. It's a heavy weapon, a must sought after, year one weapon. So we've got one more quest to do that. We were jumping in, we were doing some strikes. Yesterday, Nicola and I, and we were just like really enjoying it. So it's just, I love it. I just love being back into Destiny. It's just, and again, it's one of those games that just looks stunning as well. Just absolutely superb. When we were doing some patrols yesterday, we had to do a bit of a grind, looking for an artifact, so we were trying to do a bit of a grind, and we kept jumping into public missions as well. So we were getting some really good loot, going back to the tower, trading those in. It was just a really good cycle. We played probably about 3 hours of it yesterday, and we really kind of got into that kind of patrol, kind of fill up, do those public matches, and then kind of go back to the tower, and then just kind of see what we've got. And we were just like really having fun. So it was just absolutely superb.
Yeah, I did enjoy Destiny until I stopped playing it. I think I played it for 40-odd hours, which, was a good shout for a single-player game. I bet you've done hundreds of hours now. And it's still got an audience, which is a really good thing. This is, am I right, this is the last sort of big expansion before they're starting to make rumblings about a Destiny 2?
That's right. Yeah, this is it until Destiny 2 comes out.
So, I'm starting, like the other day, I started to get a little bit of a hankering for Destiny, and I've still got it on my shelf. And I was kind of like, yeah. But I've got too much to play anyway. But I was thinking, I do like that. I do like the sort of mechanics in there. I enjoy the playability of that game. And I was tempted to install it. But I just thought, maybe I think it means that I'll be on board for Destiny 2. For certain, sort of day one. I mean, Destiny, I've said it before and I'll say it again, Destiny was the reason I bought my PS4.
Yeah. I mean, it is quite interesting because you're right, there has been some rumblings that have gone on. Some people have been saying that you won't be able to take over your character from Destiny to Destiny 2, and I'm not sure if I like that or I don't like it, because I'm like, in one way, I quite like the idea of starting from scratch again. And I also like that by doing that, it means that they don't have to, Bungie doesn't have to worry about all of the old systems. They don't have to worry about the legacy systems. They can just create something new. So it gives them the freedom to do that. It might be quite nice if they said, like, right, okay, you are, this light level, so we're going to give you these guns, or they come up with some elaborate story of why you've been stripped of all your light level, but they've given you something extra. So something like that would be really nice. A little kind of nod that you have done. And I've just looked at Wasted on Destiny, and I've done 118 hours so far. So which is 4 days, almost 5 days worth of Destiny. So which is good going. I thought I'd done more than that, but that's still good going. But yeah, so Destiny 2, I reckon we'll probably hear more about it at E3 next year.
Yeah, I think at the minimum, the loyal solid of Destiny, they should get some like decent armor, some really good unique items, something like that to show them. There must be some reward for your Destiny 1 player. But I like it, obviously, because I'd be sort of starting from scratch. So it'd be good to be able. It's a good way to get the new gamers back, or the people that might have deserted Destiny, or people that haven't even played Destiny but will be interested in Destiny 2, the people that maybe have just come around to that age. So from a business point of view, it makes sense not to close it off, doesn't it?
It really does. But like I say, by doing a complete new engine, complete new stats and all of your inventories and stuff, it just doesn't hold you back to all of that stuff as well, doesn't it? So yeah, no, it would be really interesting to see what their next announcement is, what Bungie's next announcement is, because, if you remember when they did announce Destiny, they did say it was a 10-year plan.
I remember,
that game. Yeah, that game that they were releasing was 10 years, but I'm sure they were very woolly about whether it was just that one game or it would be multiple.
That was probably before the slice and dice.
Indeed. Or before people started kind of playing it and then started kind of hating on it. So it's probably then they were like, okay, we need to do something
It's
new.
actually just been one big beta test, Destiny. For Destiny 2 is actually Destiny, and what we've all been playing it's just a beta.
Exactly. So I've been playing that, really loving it. Nicola and I are just kind of really enjoying kind of jumping in, doing that. And then this morning, I completely forgot that Batman episode 2 was out. So I went downstairs to the movie room early this morning. I was going to play Forza, and then something in my head was like, oh no, Batman. I think I was thinking about PlayStation VR again, and then something I was like, there's Batman episode 2's out. So I just sat there this morning, the crack of dawn, and just played. I played through in one sitting the Batman Telltale episode 2, and that is looking super slick now. When I played the first episode, I did report that it was a little bit clunky, a little bit juddery. Happy to report, I played it on my Xbox One S, and happy to report that there was none of that juddering and horrible kind of frame rate drop that we had in the first episode. So, and I think there was kind of a bit of a meaty patch as well that had come out when that kind of came out. So it looks like they've started to fix some of the issues. And there were times in the game that it just looked like it was jumping off the screen. It looked like straight out of a comic book. But that being said, the story it's continuing to ramp up. It's introduced some new characters in episode 2. It really does kind of what you would expect from a Telltale episode 2. And I just wish I had 3, 4, and 5 on my hard drive right now, because I would just be playing it all day. I would have gone, I don't care what How to Do app says. I'm just playing this because I really loved it. When it finished, I was like, no.
Brilliant.
No, because it really did kind of just start to introduce someone completely new, which is very interesting, the way the plot kind of moves. And I was like, this is fantastic. This is a really good Telltale game now. Oh, excellent.
Oh, sounds really good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. It's great to hear that it's less clunky, more refined now. So that's really great news. And I just admire your discipline, because I can't play those sorts of games sort of episode to episode like that. It's really difficult.
Yes.
So I learned my lesson with Minecraft when I bought that, and I found that, I mean, it's probably not as gripping as Batman, to be fair, but I sort of like forgot. Almost could have done with playing through the previous episode when the next episode came out, if you know what I mean. So I'm a bit like that with TV shows as well. I always like to wait till I've finished, as I've said before, and then watch them all. I'm a bit of a binger, a bit of an all or nothing. So I admire your discipline and you just the strength, because you're gonna be like that at the end of each episode. You're gonna be like, flipping it, I've got to wait. So I admire that.
I can't believe, because I bought the season pass for Batman. I downloaded the episode, and I was like, I think it was like late at night when it came out. I was like, oh, I must download that. And I can't believe I forgot. I just sat there and I did. But you're right. I think I would love to just play this all the way through. I just love to play kind of like 1 to 5 right now. It's just, I'd love it to be more Netflix than the way it is right now. Go, here you go, here's the 5 episodes, play them as you will, because I would just sit there and play. It really has. This second episode has, if the first episode, if I was saying, it was fair to middling, it was good. This one is just excellent. It's just awesome. I was very happy after the end of the second episode, and I totally get what you mean. I was like, there's just something inside of me like, why? You're right. In a month's time, I'm going to be at the end of episode 3 going, when's 4 coming? I need 4. But I don't want to wait now until like the next 3 are out, unless Gears, grabs me, then maybe I will start stacking them up. But no, it's absolutely fantastic. So that's Telltale Batman episode 2. An absolute joy to play this morning.
Joy to love it. Love things that are a joy to play. Any chance, do you think that it's shaping up that well? You think it could inch its way into the best Telltale game?
Yes.
Oh my!
After episode 2, I would say it's up there with Wolf Among Us. It's up there with Borderlands. It's definitely better than Game of Thrones already. It's up there. Like my top 3, I guess, would be Walking Dead Season 1, Borderlands, and Wolf Among Us, changing all the time depending on my mood. But I would definitely say that Batman is up there, and one of those would have to get kicked out. Judging, after episode 2.
I'll ask you that when you finished them all. It's unfair at the moment. When you finish Batman, we'll get that chart again.
Absolutely. Hopefully it will be there just in time for our kind of Game of the Year discussion at the end of the year. So, because at the moment I am absolutely loving it. And loving the Bruce Wayne stuff as well. There was actually a choice in the game today, and I won't spoil it, of course, but there was a choice in the game where you could choose whether you wanted to be Batman or Bruce Wayne. So there was a thing that you had to do, and I'll be really vague, but there was a thing that you had to do, and it was like, do you want to go as Batman or do you want to go as Bruce Wayne? And I went as Bruce Wayne because I just thought, no, I could actually diffuse the situation much better if I was Bruce. And it was just, I loved that I had that choice. I wish I had that in like the Arkham games, that I could either do that as Bruce Wayne or do that as Batman. And I was just like, this is fantastic. This just kind of puts a big smile on my face.
Brilliant.
So that's what we've been playing this week. So let's kick off the news section. And in this week's news section, we have those new PS Plus games for October. Xbox Chivos get a new sound, and we've already been talking about it. We've got lots of PSVR news. Darren, the first piece of news is with you.
It is, and that's about the Xbox One Slim, or the Xbox One S. What's the S stand for? Well, maybe it stands for success. As MCV reports that the new Slim saw Xbox One sales rise 989% week on week on that SKU.
Wow.
I know. So it had a 71% share of the hardware market for the weekend in September the 24th. That's according to GfK data. That's an increase of 76% year on year. Wow.
That's really good. That's really good.
Yeah, I know. So there's obviously a desire for that model.
Yes. Did you see the two new models that they announced today for the Xbox One S?
No, this is news to me.
Yeah, breaking news. Today, Xbox, I did tweet back at them going, the buggers. Today, Xbox, they two new bundles are heading. Now might be Friday, might be next week. We have the Gears of War bundle, which is a 2 terabyte, because normally it's 1 terabyte or 500 gig. But they announced today that there's going to be two new SKUs are coming. One of them is deep blue. And it's a gorgeous deep blue. And the other one is what they're calling Storm Grey. And I love it so much. The Storm Grey is an absolute. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. You might even put a picture in the show notes. The Storm Grey Xbox One is a thing of beauty. Honestly, if I knew that was coming, I wouldn't have bought the white one, because when I open up my AV cabinet, it does look a little bit weird that you got this white Xbox. But the Storm Grey just looks absolutely superb. It's a gorgeous colour. It's not black. It's not the AV unit black. It's just this really kind of almost akin to kind of Apple's space grey. It's very kind of like that, and it's like Storm Grey, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
Wow, I'll have to have a look at those. I haven't had a look yet. But yeah, cause we have the PS4 Slim as well, and that's been slow. Yep. That's been pretty slow sales. So I think it just goes to show that it's not all about just refining or shrinking a model. If there's something out there that's got a bit of an extra feature or two, that's where the users or the consumers will gravitate. If you compare the PS4 Slim to the Xbox One S for launch weeks, Microsoft's was stronger to the tune of 361% against the PS4 Slim. Wow. So there's been a change there, and I wonder if that might carry on. I actually had a little theory the other day. I was thinking about the new consoles, not really the Slim, but the PS4 Pro, and the Slim just because that's the one that's there. But yeah. Sorry, not so much the PS4 Slim, because that's just the Slim. It hasn't got really much better about it, has it? It's still like,
no. I mean, it does HDR because every PlayStation does HDR now. But that's just, there isn't anything better. It's just a smaller model, isn't it? Yeah.
And I was thinking regarding the Xbox One S, I was thinking that actually that was, I think we probably said this before, but that feels to me like what the Xbox One should have been. And originally,
yes,
and actually the ones that like me and you bought, the Xbox One launch day, day ones, that was the interim console. And these ones now, yes, these aren't the interim consoles. What we've actually had, a bit like what I was saying about Destiny, that we've been playing on the beta console. These are the true ones, the Slim and the PS4 Pro. That's kind of, I'm imagining, like if they've been launched. I mean, for one reason or another, they never were. But imagine that would have been like just nicer. You know, I mean, we didn't have HDR and what have you, but you know what I'm saying. It's just
I do. I totally agree. Absolutely. When I got my Xbox One S, that I totally agree. That's exactly what the Xbox should have been. You know, there's no external power brick. There's no external power brick. It's smaller. It's quieter.
It's a thing of beauty, isn't it? It's lovely.
It is. And I'm sure, you know, the controller is a Bluetooth controller, so you can instantly kind of join up to your PC. You can go to the kitchen and get a drink and it doesn't cut out. You know, I use my Elite anyway, but Nicola's got the white one. So, you know, all of that, you know, it is just it's a bigger, stronger, faster, Xbox. And I know they're different TVs and it's not a very good comparison, because my 4K TV is going to be doing some upscaling. But when Nicola and I were playing Destiny, her screen just looks better. And I don't know if the Xbox One S is just giving it a little bit extra oomph. I don't know if that's actually happening, but it definitely, you know, it could be a bit of the TV, it could be a bit of that, you know, it could be a bit of everything, but it definitely kind of does make the games look a lot sexier.
Yeah, and I've never felt the need for one of these, like, iterative upgrades before. You know, I never really wanted to get an Xbox Elite, 360 Elite, but I did because my 360 got a ring of death about 3 times, so I ended up going through all the models anyway. But I wouldn't have. I was quite happy because it did essentially the same thing. But I must say, with the PS4, I'm just happy keeping the standard, but there is something desirable about the One S. There's something desirable. It's the HDR, I think. You know, it's the 4K disc player. For people that have got a 4K TV, It makes me. I mean, I wouldn't be without my Xbox One. Don't get me wrong, but I kind of wish that some accident happened that I wasn't able to get one until now, so that I could just get the S, because I can't justify really getting rid of my Xbox to get an S. And though as I speak now, I'm thinking about 4K discs and HDR. It's making me want one. But yeah, I think the look of it, the style, it's like everything's just they've listened to what people said. It just looks so sleek and nice, and I just want to open it and sort of dust it or something. You know, it's just their little Xbox. It's a nice piece of kit, and I really like it. And I don't get that from the PS4 Slim. It's really odd.
Yeah, it was really interesting. This weekend we started watching Luke Cage on Netflix, and for some reason I don't know what was up. The sound from the TV was a bit strange. Going through my AV unit, maybe I need to get my Stuart around. You know, it was just a bit strange. So I just fired up the Xbox. I said, "Oh, let me just have a look at the Xbox. Let me see if Amazon does 4K on there," and it does. You know, it does like 4K on the Xbox One S as well, because I don't think it did at launch. Netflix does, Amazon doesn't. So we just ended up watching Luke Cage on there, which was just really nice. It was nice that I've got a backup. I mean, I know I could have probably gone to my Blu-ray player, and that's probably got Netflix as well, but it's quite nice that I just had that backup. So, you know, there was just a one-stop shop. If you have got a HDR TV or a 4K TV, then that Xbox One S really does complement it. And I can see why, Daz. I can see why you're probably going, "Oh, I want to get one," because you have a TV that's just there kind of wanting some HDR content to be to show through.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm pretty committed to Scorpio, so I'm just giving myself restraint. You know, just a show of restraint, because if I'm restrained now, I can justify the Scorpio better on the business case that I'll give to Claire. So
to be signed off in triplicate.
Exactly. So no Xbox One Slim sort of helps my case to the Scorpio, because it's like I've missed a generation almost, or whatever. But I'm so on board for Scorpio. It makes this easier to bear, and you know, Forza still looks amazing on my Xbox. And stuff. The only thing that disappoints me a bit is my Xbox One will probably be worth not much if I wanted to trade it against the Scorpio. But never mind, you know. First world problems, really.
Indeed, in game, they gave me £130 for my day one Xbox One. Still, it was boxed, and it also had a working Kinect. And they didn't seem to care about the box. But I just thought, if this is going forward to someone else, it's quite nice to have that box with all the peripherals and all of the cables all kind of nicely tied.
Yeah, I always keep all that stuff.
Well, I do. I keep all the ties and I retie it, and then you got the guy from Game just kind of ripped it all out. I'm like, dude, put it in the box. But I got about £130 for that, which was really cool. But I mean, it's quite interesting because friend of the show, Phil Spencer, he was saying today that that Scorpio is going to be a premium console, but don't worry about the price, and that they quite liked the price point of the One S. So that was a really interesting statement from Phil today.
Yeah, and I think as well that Sony brought out the PS4 Pro, just kind of, I think they obviously I'm not privy to the boardroom meetings, but I just kind of think it's an easy thing to bring out. It's like, we'll upgrade it a bit, we'll just do what we have to sort of keep the price, still make a profit, and give people something just to give them a choice from our platform against the Slim. And I really think that they sort of haven't. I mean, I could be completely wrong here, but my theory was that really they're taking the easy way of just getting the Slim out. Sorry, not the Slim, the PS4 Pro out as their interim offering. But then what I'm thinking is they just did that easily with stuff they can get, no great R&D into it. But what their plan is on a Scorpio rival that they may announce 6 months, 2 months, 1 month before Scorpio is due to hit.
I think Scorpio took PlayStation completely by surprise. I think, their Pro is their answer to the One S. And then when at Microsoft, I think Microsoft did the rope-a-dope the PlayStation did on Microsoft a couple of years ago. I think when they kind of went up there and go, and also we've got this Scorpio. I'm sure they did talk to a lot of developers and they had that little sizzle reel of developers. So I'm sure Sony started hearing stuff, but I think that is why we didn't hear about the PlayStation Pro at E3. I think because they needed to regroup a little bit. I think, and that's why we had that boring thing in New York, because they needed to regroup, because they could have easily, the content that they gave us at that announcement, they could have easily tacked that onto the PlayStation event. And also the PlayStation event almost felt like it, because they re-showed a game that they'd already been showing. They showed that game that was the zombie game, which is Days Gone. They re-showed Days Gone at the end. So I reckon that was like, and also PlayStation Pro's on its way out in October. And I think they were going to do that. But then Microsoft came out and said, look, we've got this ginormous beast that we're going to be making.
Yeah.
And that's why I think Sony, I mean, it doesn't matter to me because I have a dedicated HDR 4K Blu-ray player, but the fact that there isn't a Blu-ray player on the PS Pro is just short-sighted, and it's just, and Sony they've only just now have released a standalone player. So why they're not going, do you know what, we need to stick one of those in there, or we need to do something, is beyond me. But I do think that I think they're back to the drawing board now. They're like, okay, get the PS Pro out, and then they'll be back to the drawing board, or whether they will even just go, okay, we're looking at the next PlayStation now. And,
yeah. I think they're going to try and plan something that's going to be a response to the Scorpio. I mean, obviously they're going to be doing that. So it's just kind of, I don't think they're bothered about the Pro. I don't think they're bothered. Like you say, the rather lackluster presentation of it. There was no fireworks, there was no pizzazz or showmanship. No. I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, it told what it needed to tell, but there was no fanfare, which I found a little bit strange. But it's kind of like, yeah, like you say, Xbox pulled the rug from underneath them. Good on them. I like this flip-flopping.
Yeah. It keeps the other one on their toes,
yeah,
doesn't
and it's
it?
like, so are they going to then, in the future, this is what I was thinking, is their next offering going to be, well, obviously it is going to be a direct reply to Scorpio. What could that be? And will they be planning that? Do you think they'll be rushing through to be able to get one out in time to rival Xbox Scorpio's release in 17 months or whatever it is?
Yeah, there's probably, when they release Pro, they're probably already working on the next one already. They've already got to start getting some ideas. So they're probably already doing that. But whether they are, as you say, whether they're going to start fast tracking it because they realise that the Pro is not good enough to go up against Scorpio, which is a bit worrying because it's called Pro, so it's kind of, it's almost like the next one has to be PlayStation 5. It has to be PlayStation. It has to be something like that. Because it can't be another PlayStation 4. If Microsoft come out and say this is Xbox One S Pro, you know, what are Sony going to call it? Xbox, PlayStation 4 Pro, you know, it's
Pro Plus.
Like Pro Plus, yeah. But one thing about the Pro, I mean, I've pre-ordered one. It's you know, it will be coming on day one. But the one thing that's really interesting about the Pro is that I'm starting to think about those third-party titles that are coming out this year. I'm starting to think about Battlefield. I'm starting to think about Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. I'm starting to think about Dishonored 2. All of those games that are coming out this year, because they're going to look better on the Pro. Mm. You know, and some would argue that they would probably look better on the PlayStation than they would on Xbox anyway, but they're going to look better. I'm going to get the better experience if I play them on the Pro. Now, typically for me, I always play those third-party titles on the Xbox. But I'm looking at those and thinking, I might get them on the Pro because they just look, I mean, at EGX this year, they had Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. They had that on, running on the Pro, and by all accounts, it looked absolutely stunning. So I'm starting to think about whether I should start getting my third-party titles, especially this year, because I don't know, apart from Gears of War and Forza, there are no other HDR games, that have been announced yet. There's a rumble that Battlefield might get a HDR patch because that will probably match the Pro version, but we don't know. So there's no one's kind of gone, right, Star Wars Battlefront's getting a HDR patch on Xbox and PlayStation. So those announcements haven't happened. So when you do have that long list of games that are going to be PS Pro enhanced, it makes me want to maybe start buying stuff on PlayStation. So even though the Pro is a lesser model of such, it's actually making me want to kind of change where I play my third-party titles.
It's really interesting that you said that, because it just goes to show that the PS Pro might not be for everybody, but there's more choice out there, and there's people that choice will suit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And for me, someone who really... and the other one is Watch Dogs 2 as well. And I thought I was going to get 2 copies of that. Nickel and I were going to co-op, but I might go over on the PlayStation because, again, there's... If Ubisoft came out and said, we're HDR in, you know, Watch Dogs 2 on Xbox, I'd be like, I'm all in. But the fact that they're not doing that, and I've got the PlayStation Pro coming, and that's kind of why I'm like, I might do that over there. Absolutely, you know, the PlayStation Pro's not for everyone, but if you're stupid, and I really should have a PC, you know, and this is how I'm going to get my graphical bump.
And consoles do look nicer. My PC's doesn't look pretty in the lounge, sat there, and it's louder than the console as well when the fans get going. So, for aesthetics, you know, and just like you know, you mentioned ease of use. PCs are a lot easier than they used to be, but it is sort of plug and play with a console. Though they get, as we discussed, I think last week, with the advent of all these different technologies, there are starting to be sliders and display options and frame rate decisions to be made, which is another interesting thing going forward as to whether or not that would make people just think, oh, well, if I'm going to have the hassle, I'll just go to PC. And then Sony came out saying, didn't they, that the PS Pro was they put that out there because they thought otherwise people would go to PC.
Yes.
It's just bizarre. I think, was it James said, well, you know, one graphics card's like probably more than the PS Pro anyway. So it's a strange argument.
But it's really interesting, and I know kind of a lot of feedback has been about the PS Pro as well, like kind of who's that for, who's going to buy it, you know, what person is thinking about going over.
If I didn't have a PlayStation, I'd get it. That'd be
but that's me. You know, when I was listening to that,
which means it's the same as the S for me. So that it doesn't matter about the extra horsepower. It's not enough to make me want to
jump. But even though it was a terrible showing, that really spoke to me, and I was sitting there watching it, going, "This is really boring, but I really want that console." And then I went onto Twitter and I was reading some feedback, and everyone was hating on it. But the thing that everybody was hating on was again, "I don't own a 4K TV, so this is terrible." You know, I'm like, that's just the same as Android people going to me, "My phone's better because I want you to validate my phone." You know, and it was just that again. And I just think
I love that future-proofing that they're doing, and I'd love it regardless of whether I had a 4K telly. It'd make me want to get a 4K telly. I got my first HD telly. Really, the push was my 360. You know, I got the 360. It was awesome. I knew it would be better in HD, and I got an HD telly. The next telly I got was an HD telly, and it was amazing, and it was brilliant that the console that I had made that transition with just the swap of a cable from analog to HDMI. Well, it wasn't HDMI; it was component at first. But I saw that 720i I think it was, or was it 720p from component? 1080i,
720p.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, and it was amazing, and it was really good, and I was thankful that that was baked into the console. So, you know, I think for these big hitters, Microsoft and Sony are investing a lot of money in 4K resolution ready machines. And to me, it gives me confidence that the 4K thing hopefully is not going to be a flash in the pan, and that it is going to be a big thing. Because they must have done their research. So it makes me happier on the risk I took on getting 4K, you know. So I think, good, 4K is a standard that these big hitters are willing to get behind, so hopefully that's going to be around a few years, and it's not going to jump to 8K or, you know, or something else. It gives me confidence.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, when you were buying your TV, it just made sense to buy a HDR 4K TV because you're future-proofing it. And it now shows you now there could potentially, you know, if you could potentially trade up to 2 consoles that could take use of that. There is, you know, films, brand new films, apart from Marvel, apart from Disney, which they're due to jump on very soon. But apart from that, you know, all of the new films are also coming out on HDR. You know, Sky now supports it. You know, it really is a nice time that it's nice for me that early adoption is now coming into fruition, where I'm now watching UHD movies. I'm now watching from Sky. I'm now watching 4K HDR like Batman vs Superman. I'm now enjoying all of that gaming in HDR. This is now, I'm really kind of seeing the benefit of that, and now, you know, I'm not just saying to my wife, it will be coming soon, don't worry, you know, or there's only 3 things, you know. It's
now you say it's here, and I feel it's here as well, and I'm really glad I made the jump. I mean, I loved my projector. I didn't want to change when we moved house, but Claire said, I've had enough of the projector, it's time for a telly. And, I mean, I loved my projector. It was only 1080p, that's good though, but I actually didn't realise that I was missing out on the clarity. I'd got used to my projector, and like even a normal TV did look better and brighter, even though my projector I thought was good. But there's a trade-off for that massive play space. I mean, I used to play on it was like 3 meters by 2 meters, which was awesome. I mean, you saw Battlefront. It's good, isn't it? You know, it was good.
Absolutely.
But getting a 65-inch 4K TV makes it worth it. It's really good. So, continuing on with the story, so yeah, the Xbox One Slim is doing really well. PS4 Pro not so well, but what's happened because of the release of the PS4 Pro, the PS4 Slim not doing so well. Because of the release of the Slim, a lot of outlets are selling PS4s cheap, which is great news for people that want to jump on the PS4 bandwagon. And Game were doing a great deal where they were advertising PlayStation 4 for £149.99, which is really cool. Not only that, they had some good bundles. One was, for instance, with the PS4, FIFA 17, and Now TV for £150.
Wow.
So, everybody was ordering these like crazy. This story reminds me a little bit when I was buying my Fallout Pip-Boy edition. And unfortunately, it broke Game again.
Oh, no.
So they haven't been able to fulfill all the orders, so they had to apologise again.
Didn't they learn from Fallout? Lessons learnt, people. At the end of every project, a lessons learnt.
Everybody makes mistakes, but repeatedly making mistakes and not learning, it gets to be less forgivable, doesn't it?
Yes.
So, yeah, they messed up again. You know, some people have lost money because they had a choice of getting consoles from other shops at a good price, but they thought that Game was the reliable option because they've got a bit of a reputation to the layman of being a great place. You know, it's a bit like, you know, you'd go to PC World, for instance, because you rely on that name and that brand. So lots of people have been let down. Eurogamer were inundated with quite a lot of complaints. So unfortunately, though there were great deals to be had, there's not much point in ordering a great deal if you don't actually receive it at the end of it, and then the great deal at the shop that was competing runs out as well because you were waiting to get that one. So hopefully not too many people were disappointed with that. But PS4 gaming goodness for £150 with games is pretty good.
That's really good. No, that's really good.
That's another benefit of these new iterations, isn't it? It's because the lower models get cheaper and get sold off because obviously you traded in yours. You know, everyone will be trading in for the next one, which allows more people to access to that platform because it's cheaper, so more people can get it, which is good. Which just helps everyone, really, I suppose.
Absolutely. I was in game yesterday and I saw some guy kind of grabbed a cheap pre-owned PlayStation 4 and Farming Simulator, and he seemed quite happy. He was off on his way. It really made me chuckle that was the game he was going for.
That was the system seller.
Yeah, Farming Simulator 2016 was the game that he was going for. It really made me chuckle.
Probably would have been better than Killzone or... what was it called? Knack. Killzone or Knack.
Oh, my goodness.
Probably would have been better than them anyway.
I did want to lean over and tell him that, and gorgeous segue to the next one, that the PS Plus, that he should buy PS Plus, because this month on PS Plus, we've got some really good games on PlayStation 4. So this month, we always kind of like to run through these the games. Last week we had the games of gold for Xbox. This week we've got our PlayStation Plus, and available from today as we're recording this. So right now, as you're listening to it, these games are now available. You have Resident Evil on the PlayStation 4. So that's the remake of Resident Evil on PlayStation 4, and also a big favourite of the Sparks from last year, Transformers Devastation from Platinum Games.
Cool, that's a fine game.
That's a fine game, and the great thing is I played it on Xbox, so I can now download it on the PlayStation 4 and play it all over again.
Hey! So is Resident Evil a remake of the remake? Because it first came out on PlayStation 1, then it got remade for GameCube, didn't it? Do you remember that? It was awesome.
It did indeed. So I think it's like an up-resed version of the GameCube version. So it's almost like the PC version. I think a PC version came out at the same time as that GameCube version. So it's like that.
Did it? I don't remember that. Oh, wow. It was good on the GameCube. So it'll be brilliant on PS4. And imagine if you'd never played it, or somehow you didn't know about it, it'd be a great game to just start playing, and you didn't know anything about it. Very very rare example, but like it'd be so good to just discover Resident Evil as it is now. Whoa.
Absolutely. This is a remastered HD version of Resident Evil, because they've gone through all of them, haven't they? They've released kind of 2, 3, 4, and I think even 5. They've released them all, but I know Resident Evil 4 is out. I've always been tempted, because I never played that. I've always been tempted to play that one, because I think that was kind of one where they really changed some mechanics, didn't they, to the game?
Yeah. Instead of moving it like an asteroids, where you rotate and then forwards to sort of move forwards, it went to the sort of more third-person view with the camera over your shoulder.
Yes.
And I got that for a birthday. I think it might have been 30. I think it might have been my 30th birthday. I got a PSP with Wipeout and Lumines, I think maybe. And I got Resident Evil 4 for GameCube, which was like, it just come out. And I put it on, and it looked, so that was like the best looking game, I think, at the time. And I've always loved, the stuff that's like the best thing, like that, the best looking game, graphics tart. And wow, man, what an experience. Awesome. And it was like a change, but it was great. And then after that, it seems to have gone a bit downhill. Like they could never capture it again, it seems. But maybe with Resi 7, it looks like they're going in the right direction if that demo is anything to go by.
Absolutely. So Resident Evil 6 HD Remake is there. I'm going to download it, have a go, have a look. I'll report on it next week. And then Transformers Devastation for PlayStation 3. If you've got PlayStation 3, there's a treat for you this month, because it is From Dust, is available, for PlayStation 3. Now, From Dust is a fantastic god simulator. It was just amazing. It was such a great game. It came to Xbox as well as PlayStation 3, and both Nicola and I played it, and we absolutely loved it. It was such a great game. You could manipulate the environments, like you could change the course of water so your people, your tribe can get across. You could make fires. You could put a volcano. It was a real kind of terraforming game, and it was just such a fantastic puzzle game. So that is coming on PlayStation 3. You also have Mad Riders, which is a kind of off-road motocross game, and then for the PlayStation Vita, we have Actual Sunlight and also Code Realize Guardians of Rebirth. So Actual Sunlight's a bit of a kind of almost like a graphic novel, like a graphic novel for the PlayStation Vita, which is and a very interesting title. I'm going to download it and have a look. But for me, I think the big standouts there are definitely Resident Evil and also Transformers Devastation. And I can't tell you enough, if you're a PlayStation 4 player and if you've never played Transformers Devastation, then download it, especially if you're our age, if you're a little bit older and you recognise that theme tune, then this is a game for you. This is kind of like childhood encapsulated material, and it is absolutely fantastic.
Oh, it's one of those months where it's kind of like, I've played them both. but they're so good. It's a shame. It's like, I wish I hadn't played them because this would be fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. And it's also that they've also kind of packed three really good games into this month, when this is the month when lots of big games come out. It's like, why didn't they have this like in the summer months when there was a bit of a lull, or less of a big thing? So they should have done that rather than kind of really stacking these ones. But I'm so glad they did, because if you haven't played any of those games, they're some good fun, good times.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about having good times, we all have good times gaming, but which console do we game the most on? Well, there's been a survey. How about that? I think that's the first segue I've ever done.
Love it.
There's been a survey, and 17,990 console users have been asked how long they spend console gaming each day. The winner was the Xbox One.
Wow.
Which is quite surprising, because, as we know, PlayStation 4 has got more SKUs out there. There's more PS4s out there. Nearly double at the last count than Xbox Ones. And well, maybe the 360s. No, it's actually the Xbox One. It's not platform, it's by console. So even though there's double the amount of PS4s out there, people are gaming more on the Xbox One, which is an interesting statistic, isn't it?
It really is.
So what we've got, the global average of people, how long people spend per day gaming, is 51 minutes a day. That's the global average. And then the list is broken down as follows. Your Xbox One users that top the list of spending the most time gaming, 2 hours 27. Guess what's next?
It's got to be PlayStation 4.
You think so, but it's Wii U. Which is shocking. Yeah, Wii U users coming next at 2 hours 26. So your Wii U users are loving it. You know, they're playing those games a lot. PS4 users, 2 hours 15, coming in at number 3. And then you've got Xbox 360, 1 hour 58 a day, PS3, 1 hour 55 a day, and the Wii, 1 hour 34.
Wow. So those 8 games and those 8 players on the Wii U, they're really hammering it, aren't they?
They are. They're like, never turn it off, but they're proper gaming all the way around the clock.
That's probably like Splatoon and Mario Kart, probably.
Yeah, it must be.
Wow.
It kind of shows that when the games on the Wii U are just so playable. There might not be many of them, but they get people hooked. So they get them into it.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So
that's really interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was a good survey. 17,990 is a fairly large sample, so worth mentioning. But yeah, there you go. Xbox One users like to game the most, it seems.
There you go. Once we're on there, we just can't stop playing them Gears of War. That'll be me this weekend. Excellent. Next piece of news is with me. Just a quick one. We had TwitchCon was this weekend, or the last weekend, I should say. And so Twitch, which is owned by Amazon now, was Amazon Prime members. They announced that Amazon Prime members now get a free Twitch Prime subscription as part of their package. So Amazon Prime, which now gives you kind of free delivery, it gives you Amazon Video, now also includes Twitch Prime. So all you need to do is you just need to go into Twitch, you need to just marry up the two, so your Twitch subscription and your Amazon Prime account, just need to marry those two up, and then you can then subscribe to your favourite channel. So what you can do is you get a free channel subscription per month, and you can switch it around. You don't need to stay with the same one, but every month you can then subscribe to a channel, and then what happens is Amazon will then pay that channel directly on your behalf. So if you have, say, for instance, like Kind of Funny or Gamers Lost Spark, if we had a Twitch channel, you could then subscribe to us for free, and then Amazon would then donate the money to us, or would then pay on your behalf. So I thought this was fantastic. I mean, Amazon Prime kind of continues to just become something that I would never give up. You know, like I say, it's free shipping, you get free video, you get a free Kindle book a month, and now you also get Twitch Prime as well. So you get all of those benefits you would from following one of your favourite Twitch users. Wow, I
do feel like there's more and more the sort of weight just stacking up as why I haven't got Prime. Because crikey, you know, it's just like £79 a year or something. It's just it's unbelievable, isn't it? And I also think I read, correct me if I've got this wrong, but you may not have read it, but I'm sure that I read about this, that also that you could pick, if you were as a Twitch subscriber that you're getting free from your Prime, you could pick a channel each month or something, and they'd get a bit of a tip off you, but at no cost to you.
No, that's what I'm saying. You basically subscribe for free, one channel per month.
Oh, right, okay, right, yeah.
And then Amazon will pay that streamer directly for you on your behalf.
Oh, I don't know how Twitch works exactly, so I thought you sort of paid for all of Twitch or something, and then within that you picked certain people and they, once a month. But it sounds like you just subscribe to one channel within Twitch and you get that for free.
Yeah, so you get Twitch Prime. So Twitch Prime comes with all those added bonuses. It's almost like a Twitch Pro. Think of it as a Twitch Pro, and it gives you extra stuff that you can do in the chat and all of that. You've got extra features are available for doing that. But then, if you found a streamer, like if I was on like Chessman on Twitch is my Twitch handle. If I was then saying, okay, right, you can subscribe and I'm going to be, showing you Gears of War, I'm going to be doing all of this, showing you how bad I am at Forza Horizon 3, even though I love it, you could then subscribe to that channel, and then Amazon would pay me your subscription, your monthly subscription. And then each month you can then pick and choose. You go, actually, I don't want to do Antony anymore, I'm going to do Darren because he's doing some better games over there. So you could then just do that, and you could then just chop and change, and then Amazon will pay that subscription for you. They pay that forward for you. And I just think this is fantastic.
So if I get Prime, we can just subscribe to each other.
There you go.
Give each other a little tip each month.
Give each other about £4 each month. And it's just like, it's really good. It's really interesting because there are some people that I follow, there's some people that I watch, and occasionally they have Twitch subscriptions, but I already follow you on Patreon, so I'm not going to do it on Twitch. But now I might as well do that. Just give them that kind of little, because otherwise it's just money that's just going to go to waste every month. So now I just get Amazon to pay it forward on my behalf.
Yeah, definitely. It's a really good idea. I do like it. And as I say, it's just, Amazon are great. I really like Amazon. I used to use sort of other online stores, and eBay for ages was my sort of go-to place for some reason. And I feel so silly saying that now, because in the last year or so, I just find Amazon is just so amazing. I think really the penny dropped with me when my graphics card broke. Do you remember me saying that it just stopped working? And I thought, oh no, this is just going to be an absolute nightmare like any other thing on the internet when it's broke, especially that it's so much money. They're not going to want it back. They're going to want like all this proof and all this stuff. And you'll know, as probably most listeners know, that they've just got this no quibble refund thing going on. And I just went on there with trepidation. I was like, oh Claire, it's going to be an argument. There's going to have to be emails here and there. And I just said, oh, it's not working. It's really bad. And they just said, yeah, just wrap it up and send it in. And I was like, wow, it's amazing. And they just they sent out the replacement before they even received the one that I sent back.
Wow.
It was that good. And it made perfect sense because they just said, well, if we don't receive it, we'll charge you again. So they're not losing out, but it really worked conveniently for me. I was like without it only for a few days when I was expecting to be, PC-less, when I was expecting my Vive around the corner for weeks. And and it was then, and I just thought, flipping out, they're a logistics business, aren't they? And I think it's my go-to place. Everything I get now, Amazon. Christmas, Amazon, love it.
No, same here. I'm one of those people that I'll go into HMV, I'll have a quick look, and then I'll go, right, I'll buy that on Amazon. It'll be here tomorrow with Prime.
Yeah.
And I'm just, because it's cheaper as well. If I'm buying physical media for like 4K or whatever, I my first view for anything, I go to Amazon. We get food from Amazon. There's like, I have a subscription to root beer, to a turkey gravy that Nicola likes. There's all this stuff that we have. When we get it.
I never thought about food from Amazon. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Imagine that when the drones kick off and you get like a roast dinner like landed on your lawn.
We have this there's a really nice wing yip curry concentrate. So you make a really nice kind of curry house curry with this wing yip concentrate, and we have to buy it in boxes of 6.
Yeah, because I used to go to wing yip. I used to love it, but it's miles away
exactly.
now.
So, you get a big couple of big spoonfuls of that, some curry powder, and it's just gorgeous, It's a really nice meal to have with chicken and rice and stuff like that. So I just have a subscription to that, and like 6 packs just turn up to my house like every couple of months. And we've already probably have it like once a week, It's quite nice for every other week.
You're making me hungry.
So I have that, then I have root beer, and then there's my wheat-free pasta because I can't tolerate wheat pasta. So I have all of this. So the other day we had like 4 packages arrived from Amazon, and they were all food. The other one was like my M&M stash for Gears of War weekend, and they all turned up, and they're all food, and it was all from Amazon. And then we did chuckle. Amazon Fresh is coming, which is like an online grocery store. It's not in our area yet, but it is coming to the UK. And in the US, comic books, you can also, where I get kind of like a free book on my Kindle, you can also, Amazon are linking up with Comixology, and they have like almost a subscription service, which I would love, which is a subscription service to comic books. So you pay, I don't know, £10 a month, and then you just get all the comic books that you can eat. And I would absolutely love that, a bit like Netflix for comic books.
And they're getting more and more sort of same day deliveries, aren't they? Like within hours. Not next day delivery, but you order that day and it's there by, if you ordered at like 7 in the morning, it's going to be there at midday.
If you're in New York,
isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're in New York or London, you have, I think there's like 3-hour delivery windows.
Wow. But that's going to widen, isn't it? And broaden and become hopefully normal. I mean, that's awesome, isn't it? Imagine that. Oh, wow. It's just so cool. A game on a whim. I suppose it won't matter because you buy it digitally, because that would be even quicker by then. Because I was saying to Claire the other day, because I've only got 500 gig and I haven't plugged in an external drive to my Xbox, and I was downloading, I think the Forza install and the update came to about 50 gig. Claire was like, crikey, you've only got like 200 on there. And I was like, yeah. I said, but the thing is, when broadband gets quicker, it won't matter. You just delete something, and 50 gig, won't take too long. It's only because broadband's slow that you actually care. If broadband gets really quick, if we're all on, say, 100, 200 meg connections, it won't really matter so much because you'll download your 50 gig game, but you'll just go off and make a cup of tea, and it'll be done by the time you get back. And even Amazon delivering within 2 or 3 hours can't beat that.
No, but one of the things, what you just said there about physical games did spark that I had a email from Amazon the last week, which was actually saying that there's an extra benefit. We're like an advert from Amazon. This game is our Spark, sponsored by Amazon. There was an extra benefit for Amazon Prime, which is when you buy a physical video game, so a physical disc, they credit you a £2 discount.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So they give you, I think it's whether you buy it and then they credit your account for the next one, or they just take it off of that, which is it's already cheaper than game. It's already cheaper than game, and then they give you an extra, like £2 gift card or promotional credit. It might be just added to your account for next time.
Cool. Well, yeah. Yay, Amazon. I'll get in touch with them this week and just mention how much we love them and see if we can link up a deal.
Exactly. Next week we've got Amazon sponsorship all over this. And now a quick word from our sponsor. Right, Daz, next piece of news is with you.
Yeah, this is just a quick one, but I think it's a cool one. There's going to be a new sound for Xbox achievements. Don't worry, not all of them, because I'm a bit of a nostalgia guy, a traditionalist. I like the existing, but there's going to be a new one for when you get hard to achieve achievements. So hard to win achievements are going to give you an extra sort of, this was an important achievement sound. And it's going to sound like this.
It's so cool.
Wow, it's good, isn't it? And it is. It's like 11 seconds long.
It happened today. I was playing something and that popped in. I was playing Forza actually, and I got that today. And it also shows you a little diamond because it's a rare achievement. It shows you a little diamond, as well as making that lovely sound.
Wow! And I'll tell you something weird. As you know, I've been playing most games on the PlayStation 4 because that was, until I got my PC, because that was where they sort of looked better or whatever. So yeah. But I don't care about the trophies on PlayStation 4, even if I'm only playing a game on it, and it's only going to be played on there. Whereas I loved Chivo hunting on the Xbox.
Yes.
But I don't care about trophies on the PlayStation, even if I'm only playing a big game on the PlayStation. You know, Uncharted, never cared about trophies. No. You name it on the PlayStation, never cared about trophies. I always found them to be a bit of a cop-out copy of the achievement system anyway. And I don't know what it is, but I love the achievements on the Xbox, and I don't care about the trophies on the PlayStation. It's bizarre.
It really is. I think it's because they came later. I think it's, if there would have been available from day one with PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 2, whenever like the Xbox achievements came out, it would have been a thing where you were competing. But for me, trophies came a good 12 months, I want to say, after achievements.
And it was awkward to get to and stuff.
Well, exactly. I know you had to sync, and it was just where Xbox was just like bing, bing, bing. I love it now. You could just press the guide button on the Xbox controller, switch over to the left-hand side, go down a couple, and there it is. There's the achievements, and you can actually see the game that you're playing, and I just love that. I just think that is so quick. So yeah, anyone who's on the preview, they got an update. I think the update happened yesterday, and like I say, I've already got one of those rare, and I love that. They have stolen a little bit from PS trophies, but I like that we're kind of going, ooh, I like what they do over there. I'm going to put this over here, because what you see now is a percentage. So when you get one of those rare achievements, it will say, like, especially when you're jumping into a brand new game, it will say only 1%, 3% of gamers have this at the moment. And there's something quite nice about that. When an achievement pops, you're just like, oh, is it rare? Is it rare? And I did it today, because when I got the Batman one, I was like, oh, is it a rare one? And it was like just a normal bog standard. So I'm already kind of addicted to that sound and that nice little diamond twinkling away at me.
It just makes it that little bit more special.
It really does. And that's, as I was saying earlier, which I'm going to be playing my third-party titles over on PlayStation because they've got that enhancement. The reason why I played those on my Xbox previously was because I wanted the achievements. I'm trying to get to 100k achievement this year. I'm really trying to get there, but the graphics will win over. But I'm the same as you. Couldn't care less about trophies.
Yeah.
I really couldn't.
Not bothered.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
No.
It's weird. It's really weird. I think you're right. It came a lot later, and because we were there from the start and appreciated the trophies, from the get-go with the 360, it was just like, trophies, it doesn't matter. It's 360 is where it's at, and that's where it was at, or at least it was for me and you, wasn't it? But I think it's really weird because I sort of made a bit of a mini migration, even though I've still got my Xbox, but I was playing most things on the PS4. Maybe some people would think, oh, well, I'd be bothered about trophies now because that's where the only chance I'm going to get, but it didn't influence me to try hard. Just play the game, trophy pops up, whatever. Weird.
Yeah, exactly. I always think as well, the thing with the trophies that always put me off was it was so confusing. Yeah. It was just like, there wasn't just a score associated to it. It was these platinum, gold, silver, bronze, and I was just like, what does that even mean?
And the weird little graphy thing. And like, whenever I used to try and get to it on the PS3, and this might be an old thing that I'm still not over, I've got the ump still about PS3, it might be easier now. But it used to take ages, like you said, with the syncing. I get that sinking feeling just talking about it. Didn't
That joke was sponsored by Amazon. Right, next up, last piece of news is with me, and it's an uber quick one, but I thought I had to put it in because it did make me smile, and that is twofold on Yooka-Laylee. First one, Yooka-Laylee announced just after their excellent EGX showing, they announced that Shovel Knight is going to appear in the game. So they did a trailer going through the gorgeous, lovely, banjo-esque, I will stop saying that when I talk about this game, environment, and then up pops a very 3D rendered version of Shovel Knight, which was part of their they had a bit of a character parade, and up pops Shovel Knight. So he's going to be playable in the character. I'm kind of thinking, in the game, I'm kind of thinking maybe New Game Plus.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, that's a nice touch. Yeah. Like Shovel Knight.
Yeah, so he looks very good. Actually, what I'll do is I'll stick the trailer in the show notes. I'll stick a link to it as well, but I'll stick the trailer because it's a gorgeous trailer. And like I say, Shovel Knight looks really cool at the end. And then the last thing, because I am a Kickstarter backer of Yooka-Laylee, got an email dropped just basically saying that Yooka-Laylee, when it comes out in Q1 2017, is going to be available in both digital and also in boxed flavors as well. So you're you're going to be able to get a box copy of Yooka-Laylee. So it's not just going to be a PlayStation Network or an Xbox ID and Xbox title. It's actually going to be a physical as well as digital. So they are offering anyone who is also a backer of Yooka-Laylee, they are offering the ability to just switch round your digital download code for a physical box copy if you want, and you just have to go to your backers page on Kickstarter and just fill out the form there. But yeah, so I just thought that was really interesting. It's definitely, like I say, when I was at EGX last week, it's definitely the game that grabbed me. It's fantastic. It's a sequel to Banjo. It's very cool, and but it's just, I can't wait to play this game. It's such a great game. But I'll still be going with the digital version, I think.
Yeah. Is it free to change to the boxed version?
It is indeed.
That's good
yes.
because obviously there's a cost attributed to that. So it's nice to give that offer for free, isn't it?
Yes. It actually says, well, I mean, the finer point, I think, on the email, it just said, if you choose to do so, we're not ready to share the exact details, but very choose to be able to stick your head in the badger's hole and look for yourself. So they haven't shown the box or anything like that, but, you know, it'll be interesting. So that's the kind of, and also, worthwhile noting, if you are a backer, they've got a final call for credits as well, if you want your name in the credits.
Cool.
There you go. That was my Yooka-Laylee update. I'm going to start doing that now. And that's about it for the normal news. Now it's time to dust off that VR news desk. We haven't used it for a couple of weeks, but it's time to dust it off, don our HMDs, and head over to the VR news desk.
VR desk.
Oh, hello there. I didn't see you there. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the VR desk. It's been a while. I just dusted it off.
It's like a rebooting.
We rebooted it. It was getting a little bit sort of juddery and jittery. The frame rate was going. Starting to not be able to support my pad and pen. But yeah, I've just been cleaning it now, and it's back to normal. Here we are at the VR desk. What's been going on VR? Oh, loads of things. But what we're going to do today, I think, first of all, we'll get through a clump of the PSVR news. Let's get through that because we're getting pretty close to the release, and who knows, we may have some extra news next week about it when it'll only be literally like hours before it gets released when we're podding next week. So I gathered a few bits and pieces together to talk about, and what I'll do, I'll just go through them all rather than doing them point by point. So first of all, and there's a guy, Shahid Kamal Ahmed. He was the head of strategic content at Sony Interactive Entertainment, which of course was used to be called Sony Computer Entertainment when he was there. And he left to pursue a development career, which he's been working at up till now, and he's still doing that. And he's been working on PSVR, and he shared some information on Twitter. One of his tweets was this: one of the major reasons I've taken a few days off is to adjust because my world has changed forever. I don't know if I can go back. This is after having a go on VR, man. Another one: I'm prepared now to stake my future on VR. When you start making things for VR, first thing that goes is your old TV fig leaf. Which is weird. So yeah, he absolutely loves it, this guy. So he's a big noise for Sony, working with some great games. He's now working, it's his own studio that he's working for now, which is Ultimatum Games. And he said, this is what he said: after less than a week of programming for the PSVR, I can safely say that almost everything I'd ever learned about video games is redundant. I've been working in the video game business for 34 years. With just 4 days of work, I am committing to VR for the foreseeable future. I feel like I've been treading water for 34 years in this industry, and with VR, I have something to swim towards. So, wow. So, I look forward to seeing whatever it is that he's working on for PSVR. But making statements like that, he's obviously been inspired. So, yeah, that's. I just found that was really positive story. Someone who obviously knows all the guys at Sony. He's worked there. He knows how it all works. He's played this. And all of a sudden, he's like, my whole sort of inspiration and way that I'm thinking about games has changed, and I've got a destination now. It's it's quite big, isn't it, to sort of have that kind of feeling. which I think I got anyway and still get every time I put my headset on. I'm amazed, and you'll be the same, and I can't wait. But when people are in the industry, you just think they'd be a bit more blasé, but I think that's a really positive message. Sorry, Antony.
No. I was just going to say, when I got off of that Batman experience, I think I did tweet and said that, everything Darren has said about VR, I just realised, because that was like a really good experience of it, and you do just think, oh, this is just amazing. Once you, and it is, it's. I mean, we've talked about it time and time again. It's so hard to convey just how good it is, just how immersive it is. When I stood there and I was looking around, and that guy said to me, look behind, and there was a bat symbol there. I don't think in all those hours that I played Arkham Knight, I don't think I was ever that happy. It was just like, that for me was a complete game changer.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back, when I first had an experience of VR, probably 2 years ago, and it was on an Oculus at a gaming exhibition, and it was Jeff Minter demoing Tempest, which has since never got released because it went to sort of development hell because of licensing and Atari or something, because they own Tempest's name or something. But anyway, I got to have a go on it. And yeah, I came off it and I really did think, I'm trying to think back now, because I don't take it for granted, because as I say, I'm always amazed whenever I have a go. But I was just struck. I was walking around and like, my mate was talking to me, but I was just like, mate, that's amazing. I think that could really change things as you apply the evolution of it to stuff, and it's just staggering how amazing it is. So yeah, I wish I'd been there for your first VR thing. It makes me sad, but I couldn't have gone anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I'm so glad you've done it anyway, and I'm so glad that it was good.
Yes.
So glad that it was good.
Yeah, I can't wait. Next Thursday, like I say, we're a week and change away from getting kind of eyes on for a long time, and I can't wait. I cannot wait. Yeah. Like I say, I've got something cool to do in the morning, but I just want that to just disappear because I just want to get home, and I'm just so yeah, that's really cool.
Well, what about me when I got my Vive? I had to wait till Claire got home.
I don't know how you did that. I really don't.
Well, I should have started setting it up because it took all night in the end. So I should have set it up, but the box was just there. I couldn't even take it out of the box because I thought once I broke the seal, that'd be it. So the ex-head of strategic content at Sony loves VR, so that's a good sign. And he's not there anymore. He's got his own place, so it's kind of, it's not like somebody in the industry in Sony saying, "Oh yeah, PSVR," which you'd expect. He's doing his own thing and he's saying it's great. So Game are going to demo PSVR, because really the best way to get an idea of it, you can talk about it, and you say a picture paints 1,000 words, and it does for usual experiences in games, but really VR, you've got to get your HMD on your head and have a go. So Game are going to have some demos as follows. So Saturday the 1st to Thursday the 6th of October, so you best get your skates on, because it's probably go out on the 5th of October, Newcastle Metro, Edinburgh and Hull. And then from Friday the 7th to the Thursday the 13th of October, it's going to be at Manchester's Trafford Centre, Telford and White City. So Game are going to have PSVR demo stations for you to hook up and explore the beauty that is PSVR. And maybe it'll sway you. Maybe you've already decided you want it. Maybe you've already decided you don't want it. Maybe you're not really bothered, but you're just intrigued. You could go along. Hopefully they'll have some way of giving everybody a go without the queues getting massive.
Well, there is. They are running a pre-booking service, and we will stick a link to that in the show notes. So for next week, obviously, you'll probably miss this by the time you listen to this pod. It's that day when you should be getting down to either Hull, Newcastle, or Edinburgh. But if you're in Manchester, Telford, or White City, there is a link that we'll stick in the show notes, which will enable you to pre-booking. They will be offering a walking service for demos, but obviously that's a first-come, first-served basis, and the queues can be huge. But you could, if you're maybe on your lunchtime or something like that, you could book yourself a demo, and like I say, we'll stick the link in the show notes.
Yeah, brilliant. And also, it's looking like if you got your pre-order in, like you did, Antony, within seconds of it going live on Amazon, you're going to be lucky to get your PSVR, because it looks like they can't fulfill the orders now. There's limited stock. Amazon have announced, due to limited stock, they were only able to offer one unit per customer per address. and they won't have enough stock, or they may not have enough stock, they're indicating, to fulfill all the orders on launch day. The statement that I've got here: due to limited stock, we're only able to offer 1 unit per customer per address. You'll be notified by email, etc. We will be fulfilling customer orders in the order they were placed, and expect to fulfill all customer pre-orders by, release is October the 13th, fulfill all customer pre-orders by December the 12th.
Wow.
So some people that maybe weren't as quick as you, Antony, could be waiting till a month later. Oh, that's a shame. I'd be chomping at the bit.
I need to make sure. I need to check, because when I did my Xbox One S, I was messing around the week before. I was messing around with my payment methods on my Amazon account, and it was only a day, but it meant I was delayed a day because I was messing around with it. Put it onto my. I think it might have been my new my new Visa Delta card or whatever it is. My account card, my current account card, and that caused it to be delayed. So I'm just on Amazon right now, just checking it, just having a look at what card it's all against.
What your status is. Well, the thing is, that's what annoyed me about my Vive, you see, because I was there as watched the countdown to the pre-orders going live, and I ordered it I got on within 9 minutes or something, and the only reason that is because it crashed, so I got in within 9 minutes, and so I expected it on release day, and that's why I was annoyed. But if I'd just ordered it willy-nilly a week or two down the road, I could sort of understand waiting.
Yeah.
But, you make the effort, like you made the effort to order early, so I think you're quite within your rights, as I was, to expect to get it on the day. And I think you will with Amazon, with Amazon, I think you'll be fine. But yeah, it looks like there's a high demand for the device. I mean, it sold out everywhere really quick, didn't it? It just flew out of the door in America. Now,
and I like that they're doing like one unit per household as well. I like that. Obviously,
to stop the scalpers sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, if you're in a house where you got a couple of gamers and you're one each, then obviously it's a bit of a bugger. But I do like it because it does just stop those units going up on eBay that day.
Yeah, and you could share for the beginning, couldn't you? You
really
could share, and I think I like that. I really like it. I hadn't thought of that, but absolutely, because there's nothing worse than things being out of stock because people have bought 100 to prey on the desperation because it's out of stock. Now, this is an interesting little item, and I was going to mention it right at the top of the show, but I thought I'd leave it for the VR desk. I didn't know what to do. I was in a conundrum, so I left it till now. But you were talking about the link box for the PlayStation VR and how you can have it all set up and how you need to link to the link box, and then the link box goes out to your TV.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's fantastic. And what that box does, Dr. Richard Marks was explaining in a seminar a few months ago that we covered, was that when you're playing PSVR, for instance, that'll like sort of deprocess what you're seeing in VR to make it so it fits the format of the TV screen. And it's also a pass-through as well anyway. But it turns out that unfortunately, when you're going through that junction box, that pass-through box, it won't do HDR.
Right.
So it's a bit of a faux pas from Sony, really, because you really want to just leave it, don't you? You want to leave it set up, and that's it. And your PSVR's mounted on the side, and everything's there. But if your PSVR's set up, which means you've got that junction box that's doing the final pass through to your TV, that processor unit for the PSVR will not pass through HDR. If you want HDR, you've got to connect the cable directly from the PS4 to the TV.
Oh, that's such a pain.
Now, it won't probably matter much for the PS4 users because I don't know whether even though they've switched on the HDR thing, from what my research, there isn't anything at the moment, and it's unlikely that Netflix are going to give it a go because they're sort of, even though it's not necessary, it can be separated, but their sort of policy is that it's 4K and HDR, and then they're sort of saying that they're not likely to change that to 1080 HDR. But if you're getting a PS Pro for HDR and 4K, and you're not even getting real 4K, so the main thing is the HDR-iness, you're going to have to unplug and if you get PSVR as well, because it's going to perform better with your Pro, so you're going to want those, because that's the beautiful combination. you're not going to be able to just leave your PS Pro connected all the time if you play other games that are in HDR. So when you put on, I don't know, Horizon Zero Dawn, for instance, you're not going to want to not have the HDR. So you're going to have to unplug your PSVR and put the cable straight from TV to PS4 Pro.
Oh, that's just such a pain. I like the idea that there would be games, like, say, for instance, you're playing Horizon Zero Dawn, and then there was a little bit of VR that dropped into it. Maybe like like when you were playing Bioshock and you're trying to hack, you could just, like, quickly put your VR headset on and have a bit of a game like that. And, maybe I'll keep my other PlayStation. Maybe I'll have 2 PlayStations in my AV cabinet, and that way I can have one for VR and then the other one, which is the Pro.
Keep the old one.
But keep the old one and plug that into the processing. You can't, though, because
you're going to want the extra frame rate and the extra graphical wizardry that it can do. Maybe you could get some kind of HDMI dual switch and put that into the.
That's going to degrade the quality, though, isn't it?
No, it's digital. It won't degrade it. It shouldn't do.
I'll have to talk to Stuart. Stuart, if you're listening to this, give me a call.
Stuart. This is quite urgent. We need a solution for this. I'm suggesting that maybe
I need this by the 13th. Stuart's good. Like as I reported on the podcast, he was there at 7:00 in the morning helping me with my HDR.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
so
it's funny because your AV system's already functioning as an HDMI switch. Well, but it sounds to me that you're going to have to. The only way to circumvent having to actually physically start moving stuff every time you switch from VR to game is to have some kind of dual switch at your PlayStation end that has like HDMI 1 is the PSVR and HDMI 2 is straight to TV to PS4.
Well, absolutely. I mean,
but then it's through your amp, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could do stuff like that, and that would be, and I would just have, but the problem is the only place, exactly, and the only place that the HDMI port is going to be behind. And with all of my AV equipment, I like to get it in place, no wires, so minimal wires, even though the top shelf's looking a bit messy at the moment. No wires, and so you can't see the wires, all hidden. And then what I'm going to have to do is, every time I want to stop playing VR and want to play something, I'm going to have to just take cables out. But you're right, I could have like HDMI and the AV receiver. I could have HDMI 7 is for PlayStation VR, HDR 8 is for a PlayStation on its own, and then just kind of plug those cables in, put a nice little cable tag, different colour for 7 and 8, and just plug those in. I could easily do that. That's not a problem. But it's just going to be a pain.
Well, maybe you can get some sort of HDMI splitter. It shouldn't degrade it because it's not analog. It's digital. So digital does not diminish. I don't know how much that would be. But if I was doing it, there's no question this is an extra that I would have to buy. Because I'd have to buy it. Because if you don't buy it, you'd have to rearrange the cables every single time.
Yeah,
every single time you switch.
And you'd have to reach around the back, and then you'd have to pull it out, and they'd be like,
And when it's that fundamental, it makes me think it should come in the box.
The whole idea of why I've got a universal remote control, why I've got that AV cabinet, is that when I sit down and game, the only thing I have to do is get my controller out. I press one button on my Harmony remote that says Xbox, and it turns on my Xbox. It then puts the TV in the right mode. It does all of that for me. Dims the lights, does all of that for me. I don't want to then be kind of rooting around in the back of my AV cabinet because...
Oh man, this is not the way that you do it.
Sony forgot to do this. Who at Sony needs a kicking? Somebody. Oh God, that's annoyed me.
I'm so sorry. I was going to mention it because you were you're so happy about it all, and I just thought, it's kind of VR, I'll leave it. But yeah, it's really annoying, and it's like you go through blood, sweat and tears setting up your perfect AV system, and when everything's just right, it's when you add something new, it's not so bad because you put it in once, you might have to go around the wires a bit, and you plug it in and that's it. But you don't want to be messing about with your wires every time. I mean, I have mine running under the carpet and stuff.
Yeah. How short-sighted of Sony is this that they haven't...
When HDR's a feature, it's like HDR mustn't have been in their scope at the same time as the PSVR design and the processing box design.
See, the only saving grace, which I actually thought was going to happen, and bear in mind, the PlayStation Pro is a chunky thing. It's almost like an PS Slim with an extra deck on top of it. I always thought that maybe this processing unit would actually be included in the PlayStation Pro. but I don't think that's going to be the case. It's not something they're hiding. It's not like a ta-da, there's also this, because it would, it would be stupid because they're putting this processor unit in the box with VR. So you don't want have you got a Pro? You need this processor unit or you need this. So it's gonna just annoy me time and time again. And the one thing I didn't want to do, all I wanted to be able to do was get my headset out of the trunk that's right in front of me, plug it into that processing unit, and then off I go and game. I don't want to be switching cables around. That just, I'm
really sorry. It's annoying, man.
It's not your fault.
It's bad though, isn't it? It's really bad.
So, yeah, absolutely. That is just the HDMI kind of cable management, if you will, of that is just poor.
The planning of it, the whole planning of the device when HDR is going to be something big, it's a bit of a massive oversight. Really,
because if you think about it, right, I might want to be sitting downstairs. Nicola's playing on the big TV, and this is kind of just the pennies just dropped for me. Nicola's just playing on the big TV, but what I could do is I could just put PlayStation VR on, fire up the PlayStation, and then I could play in cinematic mode. Yeah, so I could be playing cinematic mode on my PlayStation headset, on my PSVR headset, and then when she taps me on the shoulder because I can't see her, she's off to bed. I could then just switch over to the TV and continue playing Horizon Zero Dawn. But now what I would have to do is switch over all of the cables as well.
Yeah, because unless you're happy to just play things without HDR.
Yeah.
Which you're not, because I damn well wouldn't be. I'm getting annoyed now.
Absolutely. So yeah, no, I definitely have to have a look into that, Stuart. I need to have a chat.
Yeah, I've sent you a little picture. NeoGaf seemed to have it sorted out. And they suggested a device with a splitter, which I've sent you a picture of. I reckon that's the one, and that hopefully they're not too expensive. What's it called? Let me just see if I can find the official term of it. I think it's just a splitter. Let me have a look.
Okay. Maybe we'll stick a note in the show notes, so for other people that are equally as miffed as me right now.
Yeah, a split HDMI cable, they're calling it on NeoGaf.
Okay, I'll take a look at it after the show and make sure I stick a link in the show notes.
Yeah, and basically, just a quick overview for listeners there. So it's one HDMI would go into your PlayStation, and then it splits it into two female HDMI slots. So you'd have your PSVR going into one, and then you'd have another HDMI cable going to your AV system. So it's going to take two HDMIs off your AV system, which is
No, it's not. You got your PlayStation 4 now plugs into the processor unit. The processor unit now plugs into the receiver or the TV.
Oh, do it that way?
Yes. It's just a jumper.
Okay, but you're still going to be having to switch from one, or you'd have like PSVR as one input and PlayStation 4 as the other input, wouldn't you?
Well, if I want to do the way that you've just shown me with that, then I will probably need to do that. Yeah.
But I don't think there's another way around it, is there?
No.
So it would.
But luckily, I have 8 4K HDR slots on my new amp.
Some people might not be as lucky though. Let's just think about it. So,
if you buy a new Sony receiver right now, you've only got, I think, it might even be between 1 or 3 slots. So if you've got,
and you'd have to make sure the splitter could pass HDR through, because
that might stop it.
It might not be 4K compatible. You've got to be 2.0A, 2.0A at least compatible. So there's a little bit of research there.
Yeah, okie. I will take that challenge. I'll take that action point. It's like I'm at work. I'll take that action point and I will report back next week.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's something that it needs to be sorted out. Anyone that's going to buy one that's getting a PS4 Pro and got a 4K telly and got HDR, basically, if you've got HDR and you're getting PSVR, you're going to need to do it, because otherwise it's just a faff.
Indeed. I mean, it doesn't come into play until November, which is good. It doesn't come into play when the Pro is out, so we have some time to thoroughly look into it. But stick with us, and I will let you know when that happens.
Yeah, brilliant. The next thing on PSVR, and the last thing on the PSVR bumper news reel is about PSVR game exclusivity. So what have we got? Some games are going to be exclusive. We've got, at the moment, Resident Evil 7 and Batman Arkham VR. They're going to be exclusive. How long are they going to be exclusive for? Well, Resident Evil 7 is going to be exclusive to PSVR for 12 months. So that's a fair old deal, isn't it? 12 months before it goes anywhere else, presumably Oculus or Vive after that. And then Batman's exclusive as well, not for quite as long, but that's still going to be exclusive for PSVR until the 31st of March 2017.
Wow.
So that's 5 months. So yeah. And
that's fantastic. For me, that is a system seller.
Oh well, that's brilliant. And there you go. Hopefully that'll be a system seller for many other people, and it's as the most accessible way to get into VR. Hopefully it'll bolster the VR community, and get more people behind it and make it more of a household name like PlayStation is. PlayStation can be argued was responsible for bringing gaming into the mainstream anyway and making it a bit more trendy. So if they can do that with VR, all the better for everybody, I'd say.
Absolutely. Blu-ray. Sony, PlayStation is definitely responsible for bringing Blu-ray to the masses, just because we had it, Blu-ray player with our PlayStation 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just trying to think whether we should do the next 3 points, or what do you think, Anthony? Should we just finish up the last 3?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, we're already at 2:27. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Awesome.
So the next item on the agenda is a bit of a scare story about the dangers of VR. You always get these things. This is reported by The Mirror, and it says that a tabloid newspaper from the UK.
Good quality reporting then.
I know. It's strange, this. It's like, I can't believe it's from The Mirror. It's like, what's The Mirror got to do with tech? But never mind. So they're dipping the toe into the tech waters of VR, and they're saying that according to leading laser eye surgeon Dr. David Allamby, who's the clinical director of London's Focus Clinic, he says that VR could be setting up a generation of young adults for myopia and agonisingly painful dry eye. So he says that with virtual reality headsets about to experience a real boom, we're setting up the next generation of games for some potentially serious eye problems. Parents and younger people need to know the risks. With VR, we're potentially going to see... I'll read the quote direct instead of paraphrasing. Parents and younger people need to know the risks. With VR, we're going to potentially see more and more people suffering from a lack of exposure to daylight, something which affects the way our eyes naturally grow and which can lead to short-sightedness or myopia. And because VR prevents our eyes from naturally focusing at a far distance, which it does because the screen's right in front of you, this too can speed up the progression of myopia. He also said there's other optical issues that are specific to using VR headsets. He says that many VR users have complained about dry eye or eye strain from wearing headsets, which can be exacerbated by the fact that some wearers, when in a stressful situation and immersed in a 3D action environment, simply neglect to blink as often as they should be to lubricate the eye. And he also says it's something not to be taken lightly because over a prolonged period of time, dry eye can lead to extreme pain, with sufferers sometimes describing it as being stabbed in the eyes. Other experts, it goes on to say, have warned how VR disrupts how our eyes naturally converge and diverge as we focus on objects at different distances, which is known as vergence accommodation coupling. And our friend Dr. Allamby adds, VR headsets contain 2 small digital screens, each projected at one eye, creating a stereoscopic effect to create an illusion of depth. The closeness of these to the eyes over intense long periods of use could lead to severe vision strain or neurological issues and needs to be better understood. So we'll stick the link if you want to have a read of it in the
I just want to read I clicked on that link that you stuck on that, and I just wanted to read the headline. Made me chuckle. You could probably hear me just chuckling away. The headline was Sony's new PlayStation VR headset could lead to eye disease and vomiting epidemic. Doctor warns.
Clickbait.
Clickbait. You can imagine parents going, "Oh, I'm not getting that for little Timmy because it's going to make him vomit, and he's going to get an eye disease."
You know what? Come and see Dr. Daz. But what should I do about all this VR? Well, I'll tell you what. If it starts to hurt, take it off. Don't leave your little kid in VR for hours and hours and hours on end. Let them have 10 minutes and then get them to do something else. It's all about balance.
It is. With any game. I mean, I remember, was it like Nintendo that always say, you must play this in a lightly lit room and you must take breaks every hour and things like that. And it's just like we've had all of these. Whenever something new comes out, when when Apple headphones came out, it was like everyone's going to be deaf. When
TVs came out, look at the aerials, they're facing the streets.
You'll get square eyes. When Wi-Fi came out, it's like it's going to cook you from inside.
Yeah. There's always got to be something, hasn't there? I mean, it's like rent an expert to diss a new technology. But if your eyes are sore in VR, blink. If it doesn't work, take the thing off, and that's it. And don't strap your kids down like Clockwork Orange and make them stay in VR for bloody hours on end.
You will enjoy that Batman experience for 10 more minutes.
What do you mean you didn't like it? Right, start again.
Look at that. That's my childhood little Timmy. Play that Star Wars game. And it's just funny. It's nice to see that obviously PlayStation VR is hitting mainstream because you get ridiculous clickbait articles like this.
Yeah, I mean, you see that in the Mirror, and that obviously says, yay, it's in the mainstream, so it's kind of good. It's kind of good, along with the negative story. So next up, we've got, this is some good news, HTC Vive was crowned Gadget of the Year at the T3 Awards 2016.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It didn't just get that, it got a few things. It got Gaming Product of the Year, HTC Vive, Innovation of the Year, and it got Gadget of the Year. I mean, I must say, it's a bit pricey for a gadget, but I suppose that's what it is, really. It's a toy, isn't it? Early adopter toy. So gadget, it just sort of trivialises it a bit. But yeah, it got Gadget of the Year. So there's a bit of a write-up on T3. Other things, we can have a quick look at what else got what. Audio Product of the Year, Name Muso QB. I've never heard of that. It's like a cube speaker. Which I've never seen. Have you heard of that? Because you're quite up with your audio stuff.
I have indeed. I am a regular reader of T3, so yes, indeed.
Oh, so that's a good thing, is it?
Yep.
There was some Gaming Product of the Year was Vive. For the first time in a long time, we have a genuinely new way to play games, and the Vive offers full room tracking. But the main thing there is VR offers a new way to play games. I've often said, we went from 2D to 3D, and it's never broken out until now with VR, and just the applications of that going forward, regardless of where it is now. I still think at the moment we're sort of at that 80s mobile phone stage, that sort of top-loading video recorder stage with the wired remote control that we'll probably look back and laugh at, in a few years, obviously. With, like, we'll say, HTC Vive, what's that wire doing to the PC? That's ridiculous. And, like, PSVR, it's like, what are those lights on the controllers? Stuff like that. And, like, look at how big these things are. But it's amazing at a time when it's never been done before, isn't it? So, yeah, 3 awards. I'm just looking through to see any other interesting ones. Streaming Service of the Year was Now TV, which I was surprised at. I thought it might be something else. But there's one here that you'll like. Gadget of the Decade, Apple iPhone.
Oh, awesome. I do like the Editor's Choice Award was the Ring, which is the smart doorbell, which is, will soon be at the front of my house. Which I really like. That's a real cool.
What does that do? Because my doorbell's rubbish.
It's basically a ring. It's, when the doorbell goes, you'll get almost like a FaceTime happening on your phone, and you can see, who's at your door. And if, like, for me, I'm up in the loft, my door is 3 floors away from where I live. From where I'm working, and I've got sound cancelling headphones on, so I'm working. So if I've got if they're trying to deliver PlayStation VR to my house, I'm not going to hear the postman. So I always put Post-its on the front door. I now know my DPD driver first name. I'm like, hello Dave, could you leave it in our undisclosed location? So this way he will ring it, my phone will go, and I will be able to see him, and I can talk to him for it as well. So I can say, I'll be right down. Or if I'm out and about, or if I'm in London, or if I'm away, I will be able to communicate with the person who has a parcel for me.
Can it connect to the lock so you can buzz them in?
It can indeed. You can get things like if that, then this, and you can do stuff. And then if I did once try to sell it to Nicola, and I went just a step too far because I said, and if you imagine it, if you let me get that near field communication lock, what we could do is I could just say to the postman, don't worry, I'm not there at the moment, but if I just open the door, could you just like drop the parcel in? And she's like, yes. And at the same time, he's robbing our house.
Yeah. You end up with a sausage and mash, but you've got no TV.
Exactly.
No more consoles.
I knew that I tried to sell the picture just a little bit too much, that I kind of I took a step too far, and I was like, damn it, and then she just called me stupid.
A lesson can be learned, though.
Indeed. I mean, I just installed, our house is being painted at the moment, and I've got a Philips Hue. So Philips Hue is kind of all around my house. And it's really cool because, like, when Nicola comes towards the house, the Apple Home improvement thing basically just says, oh, Nicola's close to when she hits the Wi-Fi, and then the lights go on outside the house.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I do like that hue, sorry. It's really good.
It's so cool. It's just so cool. So yeah, so it's really good. So there you go.
There we are. Yeah, so HTC Vive's won 3 awards for being Gadget of the Year, Innovation of the Year, and something else. And it's really good. Yeah, it's really cool. It's good to see that. Mainstream gadget magazine getting behind it and stuff. It's a really good accolade. And so to the final piece of VR news. There's a little piece of software that I found that I just thought was just so cool. And it shows the educational sort of slant of VR. I just had to mention it. It's free, and I noticed it on Steam. It's called the VR Museum of Fine Art. And within it, you can explore a virtual museum with no queues, no crowds, and look at famous paintings and sculptures in 1-to-1 scale. And just mooch around, basically, and look at famous things and appreciate them. We can look at the Mona Lisa. Is it Michelangelo's David? Terracotta Army, to name but 3. And there's many others in there that you can just... I think there's about 16 or 17 exhibits at the moment, but the developer is going to keep adding extra floors and extra stuff, and especially with the super sampling turned on, this game, it's the statues have a clarity. They are amazing. You can get much closer than you could in a real museum. It's got a little plaque next to everything to explain what it is and the date, like you get in a museum. And I just thought it was fantastic. And could imagine a school trip without leaving the class.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've kind of painted that picture before, where we just okay, kids, it's now time to stick your VR headset on. Especially, while we've been podding, Google have announced that their VR headset Daydream View will be out next month, and that's kind of coming in at like £69 in the UK, 79 in the US, and €69 and 119 Australian dollars. So this is just like a real cheap VR that kind of plugs into Google Daydream.
Yeah, we mentioned it. We covered it on the VR desk quite a while ago, and every phone that they were making from a certain version was going to have built-in Daydream compatibility. So I'm presuming that is this just a headset and you'll put your Android phone in it for your 69?
This is, yes. Like I say, this is all brand new. I just found it on when we were looking on one of those sites, which are due this November. The headset will be compatible with a series of Daydream-ready phones made by a variety of Android device manufacturers. The first one is Google Pixel and Pixel XL smartphones, but there will be more than third-party devices. It looks really nice. It looks like it's made of fuzzy felt. There's like a red one, a grey one, and a lighter grey one, and it really does look like it's made with like fuzzy felt. And the huge news for me, definitely because I really do like Mike Biffle, is that the Thomas Was Alone and Volume developer, Mike Biffle, is making a game for Daydream View called Earthshape.
Awesome, but you'd need an Android phone. You'd have to, for instance, yourself with your Apple stuff, you'd need an Android phone to use this.
Never going to happen. So that's it, but that's coming out, which is really cool, and it's coming out in November. So the Daydream View will arrive in November in the United Kingdom, United States, Canada, Germany, and Australia.
That's awesome. I haven't got an Android phone, but I've got it's Google. I'd imagine this is going to be pretty good. So we'll keep our eye on it.
And it's quite interesting because, as I was saying, next week I'm actually going to Google for a Android event for work. So I might get my eyes on that just before I get on PlayStation VR.
Let's see if we can get a little review copy going or something.
Absolutely, I will make sure I take some business cards with me. But there you go. Fantastic. So on that VR news breaking note, that's about it for this episode. Big thank you for listening. Don't forget you can keep up with us at gamersoflostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter, we're at LostSparkPod. You can also find us on YouTube, and we're also on the PlayStation 4 community, Gamers of Lost Spark, and the Xbox. For those in the preview, we're also on the Gamers of Lost Spark Xbox Club. You can find us on the Gamers of Lost Spark Forza Horizon Club. That's a good one to join. Darren, where can people find you online, sir?
Wow, that list is getting so long.
It's getting big.
It is. You can get me as Wythamator on PS4, Xbox One, and Twitch. Dazagamer on YouTube and at DazWhittam on Twitter.
Fantastic. For me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live. I'm PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network and Chessman UK on Twitter and Nintendo. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. And also, if you're feeling generous, please leave us a review on iTunes. Well, that's about it, sir. Let's go and play some Forza.
Yeah. Bye.
Cheers.
Wait for it. Boom. Chivo.